It's 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony. Until one day, a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
You've been knocked down and got up again. In a corner, you're surrounded, no defenders. You've hid your fury and kept it in. But it's time now, you ignite and turn to embers. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Get ready for verse 2, Electric Boogaloo.
You see the truth behind the veil, and you know that they're just looking for attention. Oh, you don't let the ruthlessness prevail. Oh, it's time now, light your fires for ascension. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
There we go. Good afternoon. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the penultimate deadline stream of the season, game week 37. I've not made any transfers yet. I'm probably going to buy a third Arsenal player because that kind of makes sense. Who though? Who though? Like João Pedro to Gyökeres, Tavernier to Trossard. I don't think I'm going to buy an Arsenal defender. I don't think I'm going to do that. I probably don't need 2 free transfers in game week 38. The team looks fine as long as Man City beat Bournemouth. But even if Man City don't beat Bournemouth, we're all kind of screwed a little bit anyway, right? Yeah. Gyökeres captain. I mean, if he's going to start and be on penalties, then maybe he is better than Saka. It's quite close between the two of them. I don't think like Gyökeres is miles better than Saka, but 2 Arsenal clean sheets. Yeah, I mean, double Arsenal defense is probably quite good, I would say. I'm guessing double attack will be more differential, though. What do I think about Calafiori? I think he's going to start, to be honest with you, but I'm not confident enough to buy him. 2 free transfers. 1, Rice to Saka captain and Rodgers to Dewsbury Hall. Or 2, keep Rice, Rodgers to Njai, captain Bruno or Gabriel. I'd probably just get the Saka captain in, I think. Yeah, probably. I mean, 2 free transfers is nice in 30. I don't think it's the be-all and end-all. Like, captaining Bruno's fine, but I'd probably just get Saka, I would say. Play Szoboszlai or Gross. I'm going to say Szoboszlai. Any tips for wildcard with bench boost next week? No, I mean, honestly, not really. I've not thought about wildcard, and I presume that most people had used it by this point. I mean, all I can say is good luck with bench boost next week. Like, it's very difficult to know who to go for, because if the title's over, will there be some rotation? I mean, I'd probably get a Burnley player against Wolves. Spurs players for Everton, probably. West Ham, Bowen would be in there. I mean, bench boost is so difficult to call for game week 38. Yeah. I know that's not very helpful, but West Ham will probably still have something to play for. Trossard could be a huge differential if he starts. Agreed. Yes. Would you risk a City player like Cherky or Nico, or just start Lacroix? I would definitely play the City players, to be honest with you. And anyone that got benched in the last game, I wouldn't be too concerned about, I don't think. Haaland hauled last time against Bournemouth. Yeah, maybe so. I'm not going to captain him, I don't think. Van Heck or Van Dijk to play this week? Probably Van Heck. Semenyo to Doku and Strout to Saliba. I probably wouldn't sell Semenyo, although if it's for money, fair enough. Dewsbury Hall instead of Doku, I quite like that. I actually started looking at Dewsbury Hall earlier, because if I want to do João Pedro to Gyökeres and I want to bench Calvert-Lewin, I've got to get someone cheap in midfield. But I think I'm just going to play Calvert-Lewin against my double defence, which kind of sucks, but I'm probably going to do it anyway. There's still part of me that wants to play Darlow. But Leeds have got quite a few injuries. Senesi to Keane or João Pedro to Gyökeres. The latter would mean starting Senesi. I mean, probably Senesi to Keane, even though it feels a bit passive. Bench one, Hinshelwood, Bowen, Cherky, Dewsbury Hall. I mean, arguably Cherky out of those. Would you take a hit for Gyökeres? Probably not, but I guess it depends what the hit is. Rodgers, Wilson, Semenyo start 2. I would bench Rodgers. Could you do a video, or even now, on the quintessential differential team for the last 2 weeks? I mean, I'm not going to do a video now for the last 2 weeks, no. I'm not even, like, I can maybe think about differentials for next week. I'm not going to... I mean, there aren't that many. Like, honestly, help me out. Like, differentials that no one's thinking about. Shada this week. Dangu Utara this week. Like, there aren't that many good differentials. Like, genuinely. Because anytime anyone mentions them, everyone's already looking to buy them. Trossard, Gyökeres, they're not differentials anymore. I mean, they're not super high owned. Njai, Keane, I mean, they're all the same players I've been talking about all week. Like, if you want to go completely different, players that no one is talking about whatsoever, I mean, that is pretty difficult. I'm looking at the fixtures here. I'm just like, it's the same as I've been all week. It's quite. I mean, Wilson, is he a massive differential? I need a Hail Mary team. Harry Wilson. I mean, is he Hail Mary? McGinn from Villa before Liverpool and Man City. Yeah, Trossard is 1% owned overall, but who cares about overall ownership when you're in game week 37, you know? Yeah, Shada I like this week, but he's not as great for game week 38, right? I mean, Trossard has had 100,000 transfers in. So he's somewhat of a differential still. I mean, it's less than Wilson and Rice. How do you feel about Igor Thiago as a rogue captain? I think he's probably my favourite of the non-Arsenal, non-Haaland, non-Fernandes, if that helps. Basically, same squad as you, but can afford João Pedro and Senesi to Gyökeres and Tarkowski. Would you? Yeah, that's pretty good, to be honest. If I could afford João Pedro and Strauch to Keane and Gyökeres, I'd be quite tempted by that, I think. Keep or sell Rodgers? If sell, who do you like best? I mean, I would probably sell him if I got the spare transfer. I mean, I'm just going to repeat myself all string. Trossard, Njai, Bruno Guimaraes, players like that, Szoboszlai. Really happy with the rest of my team. Should I use a free transfer to go from Eze to Trossard to lock up any minutes race? Well, I mean, is Trossard 100% guaranteed better minutes than Eze? I guess he probably is. I don't know if it's... Is that worth a transfer, though? I guess so, if you're happy with everything else. Gross to Njai just to bench Calvert-Lewin. Yeah, a lot of people are trying to bench Calvert-Lewin because they've got double Brighton defence, and I do understand it, but I also just quite like Calvert-Lewin this week. So I don't know if I would do that. Palmer to Saka or Lacroix to Nkapie. There's no way I would buy Nkapie. Would you take a hit for a third Arsenal player? Probably not. In Burmo, Rodgers to Hinchelwood or Trossard. I'd definitely sell Rodgers over in Burmo, and I would probably go Trossard. Thinking about Haaland out for Gyökeres, I don't want to get rid of Welbeck or Thiago. I probably wouldn't sell Haaland personally, but if you want to go different, why not? Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres and Semenyo to Dewsbury Hill -4. I don't love it, if I'm honest with you, but if you really want Gyökeres and you want to captain him or whatever, then sure. I'm lost. Me too. Genuinely. I'm going to end up doing something because it's deadline soon, but this team just looks pretty good, doesn't it? I think this team's quite good. But the thing is, even if I roll a transfer to next week, I don't know what I'm doing with that transfer. I'm going to have 2 free transfers and not a lot to do. And I'm going to end up making some boring move like changing my goalkeeper. Something stupid like that. I mean, I probably wouldn't do that, to be honest, but you get what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I need 2 free transfers for next week. Semenyo to Anthony. Calvert-Lewin to Bowen. Even if the thing is, even if the title's wrapped up by 38, good luck guessing what the actual rotation is going to be. Lacroix and João Pedro to Keane and Gyökeres, nice. Or Lacroix and Verbruggen to Keane and Raya, or Lacroix to Saliba. I'd probably do Lacroix and João Pedro to Keane and Gyökeres. Start Cash or Hill. Probably Hill for the DEFCON. Play Senesi, Tavernier, João Pedro, or Calvert-Lewin. You can only play one of them. Calvert-Lewin, probably. Semenyo to Palmer this week, and Fernandes to Gakpo next week to get inside the top 100k. I mean, as differentials go, quite nice, both of those moves, yeah. I don't hate... The thing is, I probably wouldn't buy Palmer when he's got the FA Cup final to go. That's the problem. But I like your thinking, at least. 1 free transfer, Rice to Saka or Gibbs White to someone. Again, Rice to Saka is not the kind of move I'd usually make, but if it's for captaincy, I don't mind it. But yes, otherwise, Gibbs White. Gibbs White is back in training, though, so he probably will start. I heard that Saka is a doubt. Any truth to this? I've not seen anything about that, to be honest. He wasn't in open training, but apparently it's not a major issue or anything. Hey, Andy, double Arsenal defense. Sure. I mean, you can't really go wrong with double Arsenal defense. I mean, you could go wrong if you buy someone that is not going to play, I guess. But start Semenyo or Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin. Has Pep said anything about Nico O'Reilly? Apparently he said they got a fully fit squad apart from Rodri, so presumably that includes Nico O'Reilly. Start Cherky or Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin. 4 free transfers, 3.1 million, and only Gabriel. With Palmer and João Pedro seems too much Chelsea and a few Arsenal. Removing Palmer allows for Saka, João Pedro allows Gyökeres. Nice, boom, done. Nothing was said about O'Reilly specifically. Saka captain 100% lot. Nope. What about Barnes with the Gordon news? He should start and scored off the bench last 2. Yeah, but that's the problem, right? He's still off the bench. So, no real interest. Yeah, the Newcastle team's a bit weird at the moment because when Gordon doesn't play, Barnes is usually like straight in, but he's not starting. So, I don't think you can go there. If you think he starts, then he's a genuine punt. No one's talking about him. Seb's got no Arsenal defender. Seb, what have you been doing? Too much golf. Not enough Arsenal. Can do Semenyo to Saka or Senesi to Gabriel. Already have Gyökeres. I mean, I'd rather have Gabriel and Semenyo than Saka and Senesi, I think. So my instinct is to get Gabriel, even though buying a defender is a bit boring. It's annoying though, isn't it, right? You get Gabriel, then you want him to get the clean sheet wiped out, but he's pretty damn good. Doing my bench boost this week, unless you want to captain Saka, but you've got Gyökeres, right? So you could just captain him. Doing my bench boost this week, have 1 free transfer, but happy to take a -4 or a -8. I like, well, what's your bench out of that? I'm going to be honest with you, right? I can't just look through your team and decide your bench boost for you. You need to help me out a little bit. Like, what moves are you thinking about making? Which players do you want to get rid of from them? Because you're basically asking me to look through your whole team and manage it, and I just don't do that, I'm afraid. I don't think you've got too many terrible picks, if that helps. Put it this way, my instinct is that does not need a -8 in any way. Make 1 transfer and just activate the bench boost. Most of those players are fine, I would say. But help me out a little bit, right? I don't want to manage people's teams for them. João Pedro to Gyökeres or Tavernier to Trossard. I'm in the same boat. I think I prefer Gyökeres to Trossard, but it's a pretty close call. Henderson, I'm just looking through that team again, like to see if there's any. Like, I actually quite like that you've got Dango, by the way. I quite like that this week. Yeah, I don't think that's a hit. I don't think it's a hit. It's hard to visualize your actual bench there, though, but I think that team looks pretty good. Yes, I'm considering João Pedro to Gyökeres. Iwobi is a differential. Yeah, I no, basically. He probably starts because he's back now, but I wouldn't go there. I've got one transfer and have Palmer, Gordon, Strauch, and Cherky issues. Any ideas of what to do? Well, I mean, Palmer's not an issue, and Cherky probably not a major issue. Like Gordon's an issue. Don't think he's going to play again this season, and Strauch's a doubt. So those two are your most important players to deal with, I would say. Arguably, you could even take a hit. I would say if you've got to play them. If you can just bench one, then I would just sell Gordon, I think. João Pedro, Gyökeres, or Hill to Saliba. Chasing top 5k, want to keep top 10k. I'll probably go for the attacker, I think. Triple Arsenal defense worth doing Saliba, Rodgers to Van Heck, Saka for a -4. Only if you really want to captain Saka. Personally, I probably wouldn't take the -4. Thoughts on Foden? I mean, his minutes are nowhere near good enough. Worth a hit to get both. Probably not. I just don't like taking hits. I get it, though. It's Burnley at home, right? Rice, Gabriel, or Fernandes for captain. Fernandes for me out of those. Rodgers out for Bruno, G, or Njai. I'm going to say Njai. Am I selling Strauch this week? I think probably not. Start Hinchelwood or João Pedro. Hinchelwood, I think. Or a -4 to move Hinchelwood to Trossard or No, I wouldn't take a -4. I mean, you're kind of asking the wrong person if you want to take a -4. I haven't taken a hit all season. This is, hopefully, things could go wrong next week. But hopefully this is going to be the first season where I've never taken a hit. So asking me about taking hits, it's not very often I think, oh yeah, I'd want to take that hit. Like, sometimes it can work. We have the same back three, same bench. Basically, I've got Sarr and Welbeck instead of Gross and Calvert-Lewin. Should I go Welbeck to Gyökeres and leave me with 0.1 in the bank? Or João Pedro to Gyökeres? I think I prefer João Pedro to Gyökeres because, like, I think on paper, João Pedro is pretty good this week, but it is 3 days after the cup final, right? So it feels better to sell him than Welbeck. 3 free transfers have 3 Arsenal. Thinking Calvert-Lewin / Welbeck to Thiago. Okay. Lacroix to Keane and Rodgers to Dewsbury Hall and Jai. Worth saving the transfer over any of those. Yeah, I don't think you need to sell Calvert-Lewin or Welbeck, to be honest. I probably wouldn't make that move, I guess. Give me a break. Either in Burma. Yeah, I appreciate the super chat, but I that's just not something I've ever done, is just manage people's teams for them. So either in Burma to Saka, or Van Dijk to Saliba, or Van Dijk Chow to Saliba, and or Dango. I would keep Dango. Honestly, I really like him as a pick this week. He's a huge differential. I mean, if it's a choice between selling Van Dijk or in Burma to get an Arsenal player, I'd probably sell in Burma. Yeah, I'd probably get Saka. Honestly, your team's pretty good. I think it looks quite good. I wouldn't be taking, like I said earlier, I would not be taking a -4, -8 for that. João Pedro and Lacroix to Gyökeres and Keane. Thoughts? Yep, perfectly fine. Start Wilson or Krupi. Wilson. Play 2 out of Van Dijk, Dewsbury Hall, Gross. I'd play the 2 attackers. Do I start Cherky or Calvert-Lewin? I would start Calvert-Lewin. Saka doesn't have a great record against Burnley. Yeah, so be it. The record might be better after this week. Eze and Rodgers to Saka captain and a 4.5 million midfielder to bench or roll. I'd be tempted to make that move. 4.5 midfielders, though, you're not really going to get anyone with good minutes. So I'd maybe just go Rio Engamoa. Is there any strategy to cover any red arrow? Like going Gabriel captain for the clean sheet and then Saka? I don't get what you mean. To cover any red arrow. I'm not sure what that means. Would you not captain Gabriel? He's guaranteed a 6. Yeah, but is that what you want from Burnley at home? Like, I don't think Gabriel is a bad captain this week. I just don't think he's better than Saka, Gyökeres, or Fernandes. You could argue that he's the third best Arsenal pick. If Engamoa does well tonight, punt for next week. The thing is, I'd be less interested in Engamoa next week because I think Salah will start. So it's one less place in the attack, right? And if Isak's fit, Gakpo could just play on the left. For -4, Dewsbury Hall for Semenyo and Gyökeres for Calvert-Lewin. I don't really like most of these questions for Arsenal attack -4. I think, look, if you want to captain Gyökeres, then you can probably justify it, but it doesn't seem like a great move to me for a -4 without the captaincy. In Burma to Saka or Bowen to Gyökeres? I do in Burma to Saka because I think Bowen could be pretty good next 2 weeks. Not sure whether to start Darlow or Verbruggen. Also have Van Heck. Both keepers never seem to make save points. Yeah, my gut feeling still says Darlow, but I'm probably going to go the double up on the defence. The clean sheet odds are better for Brighton, and Leeds do have a few injuries. Ampadu is even a doubt now as well, which is not ideal. Bacher, I mean, if I had a bit more money, like if I could afford Gyökeres and Njai, I think I might talk myself into benching Calvert-Lewin, but I don't think I can use my second transfer just to bench Calvert-Lewin for like Dewsbury Hall or Stack. It just doesn't seem right, especially Stack. Play Cherky or bench him. Play him. Oh, and Rodgers to Njai, 4 free transfers. You've got 4 free transfers. I'd be tempted to do something luxury like that. Would you bench Cherky or Calvert-Lewin? Cherky. I do think he starts against Bournemouth, but why take the risk, with a FA Cup final before? I meant that you could cover not getting a red arrow if you cover the Arsenal clean sheet. Yeah, I'm not really interested in that. I just want the most points, and I don't think that's from Gabriel, captain. Matoma / Richarlison to Trossard / Thiago, or Dewsbury Hall / Gyökeres. Dewsbury Hall and Gyökeres, I think. Darlow Verbruggen, coin flip. I'm on Verbruggen right now. I have Van Heck and Calvert-Lewin. Nice. Nice. I don't think Triple Arsenal is a priority. Might get Trossard yet, but in an ideal world, Gyökeres captain hat-trick. I might captain Gyökeres if I bring him in, I did say earlier on in the week, if he plays and he's on penalties, which I think he will be for both, like play and be on penalties, then he's arguably the best captain. The thing is, Saka's also just pretty good as well. Thoughts on starting Cherky versus Dewsbury Hall? I would start Dewsbury Hall. 1 free transfer, Van Dijk to Saliba, Haaland to Captain Gyökeres. I wouldn't sell Haaland. Or Rodgers to Eze. I wouldn't do that either. So if it's got to be any of them, Van Dijk, I think. Play Wilson on Dewsbury Hall. I mean, if you, I wouldn't... Yeah, if you've got Dewsbury Hall, there's not many play... Surely most of you are just playing him, right? Sunderland at home? Not a bad fixture at all. Is Semenyo to Saka a sideways transfer? No. If you had a choice, who would you bench between Calvert-Lewin or Gross? If we're not factoring in defenders that you're playing in the team, I think Calvert-Lewin is easily better than Gross this week. On bench boost, 1 free transfer, Cherky to Njai or Roll. Probably Roll. Munoz to Saliba or Matoma to Trossard. I mean, if you're having to play them both, then Matoma's injured, so it's got to be the Trossard move, right? Cherky to either Gakpo or Szoboszlai due to his minutes. I think Gakpo's minutes are going to be quite good for the final 2. I mean, Szoboszlai's solid, but it's up to you. If you want the guaranteed minutes, then it's Szoboszlai. But I think Gakpo's going to be quite good, in which case I'd probably just about prefer him. Who's the better captain, Saka or Gyökeres? I mean, it's almost a coin flip. I'm currently siding with Gyökeres, but it's so close between the two. 2 free transfers, João Pedro and Eze to Gyökeres and Njai. Same team as yours, except Eze instead of Tav. Yeah, that sounds quite good. I mean, a free transfer to move Arsenal players about isn't ideal, but Eze is a little bit of a risk this week, I think. Odegaard could come in. Havertz can also play central. If Trossard's going to play on the left, there's no room for Eze. Could Dango Utara be benched again? He could be, but I don't think he will be. Play Sarr, sell Munoz and Lacroix to double Everton defence, or sell Sarr to Njai and 1 Palace defender to Keane and play Stack or O'Reilly. I think I'd play O'Reilly. So I'd probably do... I mean, Sarr will probably start, by the way. He didn't start the last game. But I think I prefer the one where you play O'Reilly. Van Heck, Gross and João Pedro to Saliba, Dewsbury Hall. Also, yeah, Dewsbury Hall, Thiago, or Keane, Dewsbury Hall, Gyökeres. I mean, the safer one is probably the Saliba one, but I quite like the Keane one, to be honest with you. Wilson to Njai or Krupi to Calvert-Lewin? I'm almost saying neither. I don't know if I would buy Calvert-Lewin. So I guess I'd go Wilson to Njai, but even that feels quite sideways. Would you bench Cherky or Dango? Cherky. I'm thinking Strout to either Saliba or Calafiori. Who would you choose? Saliba for the safety. Do you think it's worth taking a -4 for Palmer to Saka? No, I would risk Palmer. Honestly, for those of you that are, maybe you're not in this position, but if you're chasing differentials and you own Cole Palmer, I mean, that's one of the biggest differentials out there right now. Play Strand Larsen or Tavernier. Who started the last game? Mateta or Strand Larsen? I think it was Mateta, right? So I'd probably play Strand Larsen, although he'll definitely get subbed early. Then he's not playing Man City. I'm going to say play Strand Larsen. Rodgers to Wilson for free. I don't think Wilson's the one that I would buy, but I do like selling Rodgers. Wilson's fine, but I just don't know if I would buy him right now. -4 for Lacroix to Saliba includes Palmer to Saka. No, I would just do one of those moves. Leeds have many out, so bench one of Gross, Van Heck or Calvert-Lewin. Van Heck, I think. Would you keep Rodgers for one more week? Ideally, I would sell him, I think. Already have Gabriel and Eze, Semenyo to Saka or João Pedro to Gyökeres. The thing is, the problem with some of these questions, not the questions are a problem, but the problem with answering them is some of it depends on what happens in game week 37. So I think I prefer João Pedro to Gyökeres because if the title's still on in game week 38, Semenyo against Aston Villa at home is pretty nice, I think. But obviously, if the title's not on, maybe Semenyo is not a great option. Also, like, I'm going to play Semenyo, but he's got to be the Man City player we're most worried about in terms of starting Bournemouth. I'm going to say João Pedro to Gyökeres. Play Rodgers or Garner, need every point. Garner. How are you this chill about João Pedro's minutes? I'm not sure what you mean. I don't know. I mean, what's the point in not being chill, I suppose? But I don't know what you mean. Like, I'm not fully confident, I suppose. Start him versus Gomez. Wow, I wouldn't be any more sure about Gomez's minutes. How come no Gabriel captain? Just because I've got an Arsenal attacker. Start 2, Minte, Semenyo, Van Heck, Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin and Van Heck. Need to chase rank. Unlucky with White. Need a new defender. Have 3 Arsenal. White to Tarkowski. Tavernier to Trossard -4. I'd probably just switch Ben White to another Arsenal defender rather than take a hit. 2 free transfers. First in my league by 31 points. Congratulations. You've won that league. Only have Gabriel for Arsenal defence. Palmer, Bogle to Rice and either Saliba or Lewis Skelly or just 1 free transfer. Palmer to Saka. I just go... Oh, so you haven't got 2 Arsenal. Okay, you haven't got 3 Arsenal. Yeah, sorry. Buying Rice, I'm not convinced by that. He's fine. I quite like Palmer, though, honestly. I think you're selling him either way. Palmer to Saka, then. In Capio on bench boost, risk or sell? I'd sell him. I think he's too risky. Have almost the same team as you. I've got Gyökeres over João Pedro and 3 free transfers. All right, what a show-off. I've got a better team than you and more transfers. All right, what a show-off. And I want to replace Matoma. Who would you add instead? And would you do Calvert-Lewin to Bowen? Not this week. Matoma, again, it's all those same players we've been talking about. Trossard, Njai, Bruno Guimaraes, players like that. You had to pick now Captain Saka or Gyökeres and why. Gyökeres penalties. On free hit, currently no City players. Is that a problem? I would probably I've not looked at free hit for this week, if I'm honest. But I suspect I would have Haaland and a good bench. Not sure I can convince myself to captain Gyökeres or Saka when they both might get hooked after 60 minutes. Oh, I know. Like, this is what's so painful about the whole thing. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Fernandes ends up the best option this week. Like, Casemiro's back. It's going to be full strength, I think, for Man United mostly. Fernandes could just end up being the best. But also, it feels bad to not captain an Arsenal player against Burnley. I mean, last time I had Gyökeres versus Burnley, he scored, and then he went off at half-time. No questions, just sending you good vibes. Thank you very much. Your team, 1 free transfer, what would you do? What are you thinking about doing with your team with 1 free transfer? Let me know. Gabriel, only Arsenal defender. Would you sell Bruno for Saka? No. Watkins, I don't think so. Watkins and Gyökeres to Casemiro and Watkins to Gyökeres and Casemiro to Trossard for a -4. Probably not. Not the hit, I don't think. What are your thoughts on Darlow? I mean, he's not amazing, but he's fine. I wouldn't be worried if I had to play him. I really want to play Darlow though. I don't really want to play him, but I feel like I should play him. Previous Game Week 38s, have there been leaks in the past? Yeah. I mean, you're more likely to get leaks in Game Week 38 than any other week. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. And also, I think when people hear that, they think, okay, we're going to get it for this specific player or team. I mean, you might get leaks from a team and a player you don't even care about, you know? Can't guarantee you it'll be Arsenal or Man City, that's for sure. Arsenal seem to make the easy fixtures look painful. Well, it was 2-0, right? The reverse fixture. Yeah, Leeds do have quite a few injuries. I think playing Verbruggen's fine. But like, if you had to play Darlow, it's not worth a transfer. Semenyo, Dango, Thiago, who would you bench? Semenyo. There is some risk with Dango, but I do think he comes back in. Yeah, I think he comes back in. Should I add Bruno Guimaraes to my team? If you need a new midfielder, sure. Why are you playing Calvert-Lewin if you have Brighton defence? Because the alternative is to play Tavernier, and I think Calvert-Lewin's better, right? Like, I think lots of people are going to talk about this. I think it's fine if you want to play all your Brighton players and bench Calvert-Lewin, but ideally you want someone good to bring on. And for me, it's Tavernier, and I just... Like, if you forget about my defence, like, Calvert-Lewin's better than Tavernier this week, right? That's how I'm kind of looking at it. I could do Tavernier to Njai and bench Calvert-Lewin, but then when I think about that, Calvert-Lewin's better than Semenyo and João Pedro this week, in my opinion. So I'd be making a transfer to bench a player where I think he's like, let's just say I do Tavernier to Calvert-Lewin, right? Tavernier to Njai and bench Calvert-Lewin because I've got 2 Brighton defenders. In my opinion, Calvert-Lewin's better than João Pedro, Semenyo, and Gross this week. So it feels a bit weird to bench him. Likewise, just because I'm playing Calvert-Lewin doesn't make me want to play Hill over Van Heck. You know? So I get it. People don't like attackers versus defense. Either way, it's happening, right? If I play Darlow over Verbruggen and sell and sell Strout to bench Van Heck, then I've got Gross against Darlow. So I don't, for my team, I just don't think I can get around it. One way or another, I've got an attacker playing a defender. I don't have enough transfers to fix that, and I don't think it's a huge issue. I think people are worrying about it a little bit too much. In the reverse, Arsenal-Burnley fixture, Gyökeres scored, Gabriel assisted. Yeah, I had Gyökeres for that game. I was hoping for big things. Didn't happen. Just sold double City for double Brighton. How cooked am I? I probably wouldn't have done that, but it's done now, so go and enjoy your Friday. Have one free transfer in Gabriel, Raya, Rice. I'm either going Gabriel, captain and roll, or sell Rice for Trossard and captain him. I would just captain Gabriel, I think. 31 points up in my min league. Well done, you've won. Do I go for players that second place has to try and keep the gap? Also, Ballard, Sarr to Saka, Van Heck. I think I would buy Keane over Van Heck this week if I was like, Van Heck's fine, but I wouldn't buy him. That sounds like pretty good moves to me. You could buy the players that second place has got, but I mean, 31 points is probably done. Why don't you bring in Keane and Trossard for Tavernier and Strauch? Then start both and bench Gross and Van Heck. Yeah, again, I could do that. But is Trossard better than Gyökeres? Maybe. I do quite like Keane. And lots of Everton fans are still saying that he might not start, but surely he just starts. I don't think there's too much doubts about it. What do you predict Haaland's effective ownership to be? Probably around 100, probably just under, I would say. Although, the thing is, there'll be a lot of people that just forget the deadline, and so he'll be captain anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if Calvert-Lewin scored and Brighton kept a clean sheet with your luck. I mean, Verbruggen and Van Heck could both go off just after the 60th minute, and then Calvert-Lewin could score. That would be nice. Why am I so tempted to play Van Heck over Semenyo as a differential? Don't know. I mean, I don't think that's crazy. for what it's worth. If you had to sell Semenyo to Doku or Cherky in order to fund Saka and Gyökeres, who would you go for? I mean, probably Doku, but that's obviously a bit reactionary to the last couple of weeks. One free transfer, although his minutes do look better. One free transfer, Laquata Keane or roll and start Cherky. I'd roll. Oh, or Calvert. I'd start Calvert-Lewin and roll. Is Barnes worth a punt in for Rodgers? Percentage starting. I mean, Newcastle fans help me out. My feeling is that Barnes should start, but he hasn't been starting, so it just doesn't feel worth taking the risk. Like, let me see. The last time he started was game week 33, and keeping in mind that Gordon's been out, that's not great, is it? Why everyone thinks Saka starts versus Burnley? Why wouldn't he start, though? Is Barnes worth a punt? Oh, sorry, I did that one. On bench boost, just did Rodgers to Trossard, Cherky to Bruno, G -4. I wouldn't do that, no. What would you do? What would you do, Sar, if you had him instead of Gross? I think it would be play this and then sell Casemiro Anthony, or sell now, Enjoy or someone else. Yeah, Enjoy probably. Why Gyökeres over Saka and Cap? Honestly, like, I wish on the graphic for captaincy, I basically could put Gyökeres and Saka number one. They're both very good. Gyökeres possibly for penalties. That's about it, really. Is Semenyo a guaranteed starter? I mean, for the Bournemouth game, I don't think you can say that. He probably does start, but I don't think you can say it's guaranteed. Also, I don't think many people are actually selling Semenyo either. 39 points ahead in my mini league. Congratulations, you've won that mini league. Sell O'Reilly for Saliba, not for me. João Pedro to Gyökeres or Strout to Saliba, first bench Van Heck. Probably the Gyökeres move. Pedro to Gyökeres for -4 or Trossard, Matoma -4 or stick. Again, if you've got to play Matoma, he's injured, so I'd sell him. Trossard, João Pedro or Gyökeres Welbeck. Gyökeres Welbeck. What's your... I think because neither of them are playing an FA Cup final. What's your gut thoughts? Haaland, Gyökeres. Oh, two Gyökeres? No. Surely Lewis Skelly is nailed for 60. I think there's a very good chance of that happening. Nailed? Wouldn't say that. You mean reactive. Reactionary means being a political dinosaur. No, I think I meant reactionary. Even if it doesn't make sense, whatever. I'm sure people know what I mean. Gordon won't start. Yeah, I don't think Gordon will start at all. It's just whether Barnes does, you know? I'd probably ignore Newcastle outside of Bruno G at this point. If you've got, like, Chow or someone like that, you could play them, of course, but... By the way, I get why Eddie Howe is not playing Gordon. I think James on Planet FPL mentioned this. But it does feel a bit harsh that he's not playing Trippier. He's playing Lewis Hall at right back. That feels a bit hard. It's not like Trippier is like... I get why he's not happy with Gordon. But isn't... Like, Trippier's been a pretty good servant to Newcastle. I mean, I guess Gordon has as well. Oh, it just feels a bit harsh. You hate being corrected. I don't mind being corrected. Just depends what I'm being corrected for. Yeah. Depends what it is. I mean, someone corrected me the other day about Bruno G and Njai. I thought, fair play. Great point. Even put it in a video. Gabriel in, Munoz out, or Saka and Palmer out. I don't have any else. I would get Gabriel. I'd rather have Gabriel and Palmer than Saka and Munoz. I wouldn't do a -4, I don't think. Igor Thiago is good this game week. Yes. As a new-ish subscriber, I'm interested to see what Andy gets up to in the summer. On this channel, not a lot, really. Not until FPL starts up again. Doing Rodgers to Guimaraes. Is Van Heck to Keane worth a -4? Not in the slightest. Any real upside midfielders that can 10+ haul that might make the -4 worth it? I mean, you could try someone like Shard or Utara against Palace at home, but I wouldn't take a -4. Captain Gyökeres or Saka? Yes. Close to the finish line. Would you take top 500 if it was offered now? Yes, 100%. First by 9 points. I have no Arsenal and they have bench boost. Okay. I mean, 9 points is not that much for 2 weeks, especially if they got bench boost. It's going to be a close one. Maybe get some Arsenal in. Have you done a mock wildcard by chance? No. If not, who would the 5 certains be? Saka, Gyökeres, Gabriel, Thiago probably. I'd probably have Njai in there or something like that, or Tarkovsky or Keane, something like that. Please tell me if you think Engamoa will start. I don't, to be honest. Do you think I should take a hit if I'm on bench boost and have Gordon on my bench? Yes. With Burnley playing low block, there will be a lot of corners. Clean sheet is almost guaranteed. He basically starts at 6 points. Isn't Gabriel the best captain? Yeah, he might start there, but where does he go to? Now and to be fair, that sounds like a stupid question because he's got one of the highest points per game in the league this year. But yeah, again, Gabriel's fine. Like, the thing is, when you say things like Burnley play a low block, that's true. They've also conceded over 70 goals this season. So how good is that low block? Like, has any team conceded more than Burnley? Because if the low block was so good, you'd think they would have considered playing it at some point this season, rather than conceding the most goals in the league with the worst expected goals conceded. Like 73. No other teams are, like, even Wolves, who are bottom of the table, 66. West Ham 62. Like, Burnley are just bad. And again, it's not me saying Gabriel's a bad captain. I think he's pretty good. He's probably in the top 5. But is he in the top 5? He probably is in the top 5. But I think I'd rather go for an attacker. Would I be sat here on Sunday or Monday? Sorry, it'd have to be Monday, I suppose. Monday night. That's when Arsenal are playing. Would I be shocked if Gabriel's the best captain? No, not at all. So I'm not telling you they're bad, but I ain't going there. I don't think. Rodgers to Trossard and Anderson to Saliba for a -4. So if the Rodgers move is to fund the Saliba move, I don't hate that because Anderson's obviously no good to you. I want a differential captain, Thiago or Njai. Thiago out of those two, I think. I like Njai, but I don't like him that much. By the way, I don't know what is wrong with YouTube chat. I don't know if anyone else sees it right, but sometimes they put it puts like a little X and an A. Like, so this message, for example, says cherry at the beginning sideways or Sarri to the end. And when I hover over it, it says Cherky to Gakpo 2 sideways. So it's like it's translating. Cherry at the beginning sideways is actually Cherky to Gakpo 2 sideways. Cherky to Gakpo is fine. It's a bit of a luxury, but it's fine. 97 months. Stevens almost hit 100. Rodgers to Trossard, nice. This would mean Gross gets benched. So front 7, of Cherky, Trossard, Dewsbury Hall, Bruno, Thiago, Haaland, and Calvert-Lewin. Sounds pretty good to me. Why not? It's weird how we make riskier captain picks at the end of the season. I reckon if we had 10 weeks to go, we'd all be captain in Gabriel. I don't think I would be, to be honest. But yeah. Newcastle fan here. Wouldn't go Barnes. Although Joelinton is a doubt, could start Willock as left wing. Bruno G is a good pick. Yeah, I quite like Bruno G. With no Gordon, penalties, right? Although, who do you think takes penalties between Voltemada and Gordon if they're... Voltemada and Bruno if they're both on the pitch? Cherky and João Pedro to Njai and Yoker as captain. Nice. Or Cherky and João Pedro to Rice and Thiago. Meh. Or just Palmer to Saka captain and roll. Nah, I quite like the first one. I mean, you could just keep Cherky if you wanted to, but but I like the first one. Sell Welbeck or João Pedro for Gyökeres. I think I'm always going to side with João Pedro because he's got an FA Cup final to play. Oh my god! By the way, Gyökeres and Saka are blanking this week. I hope everyone realizes that. Do you think Bruno F is better than Gabriel captain? Man United looked terrible against Sunderland, and Bruno seemed like he was looking for assists. Look, I think Bruno is looking for assists, but I think it's like if he's got a chance to score, he'll probably shoot. And he already said that he wouldn't like do that thing on penalties where he passes the ball. Although I guess that's a little bit different. I would go Fernandes over Gabriel. I think they did look bad against Sunderland, but I don't want to base it all off one game. It's last home game of the season. Casemiro's back. He'll help out a little bit. Rodgers / Watkins to Thiago, Bruno G for a -4. I would just make one of those moves, and I'd probably lean towards keeping Watkins over Rodgers. Would you bench Cherky if you have Gross, Saka, Bruno, Rice? Cherky versus Gross is probably quite close. I'd probably play Cherky, but if you want to go safe for minutes, then it's Gross, which is a reasonable call. 3 free transfers, 0.2 in the bank. Munoz to Saliba and Gross to Wilson and Gross or Wilson to Dewsbury Hall. I think just do Munoz to Saliba and roll the other transfers. Like Gross or Wilson to Dewsbury Hall's fine, but not much more than that. I think I'd rather have the transfer in 38. Mateta to Thiago or Osula or just roll. Yeah, I quite like selling Mateta. So Thiago. 1 free transfer, start Rayan or Hill. Rayan and roll, or transfer Matoma for Njai, Trossard, Dewsbury Hall and start them instead. I would sell Matoma because Matoma's going to be no good shoe next week. I would get Trossard or Njai and play them over Rayan, I think. Start 1, Van Dijk, Cash or Porro. Probably Van Dijk. 1 transfer, 0.5. Who have Spurs got? Oh, it's Chelsea away in it. Yeah, Van Dijk. 1 transfer in 0.5. Trossard or Njai for Enzo. Trossard probably for the punt. I got to be honest, I'm not... I do like Trossard for the punt, but I think deep down I prefer Njai. I'm going to say Njai. Who would you captain out of Bruno or Haaland? Bruno. Bench, Wilson, Hinchelwood, Bowen. That's a tricky one. That's a really tricky one. The thing is, if Wilson gets subbed early again, obviously you're going to wish you benched him, but it's Wolves, so I think I'm going to say Hinchelwood. I hate that though. Sell Calvert-Lewin for Gyökeres. If it's your only way to get Gyökeres and you really want him, sure. But I'd rather have Gyökeres than Calvert-Lewin. Bench boost, Wilson, Krupi, Chow, Dubravka, or take a hit to replace any of them. Or better wait for bench boost next week. Bench boost next week could be chaos. And I don't know what your bench is, obviously. Chow's fine. Wilson's fine. Dubravka, did I see something that... Hang on, let me just check on Dubravka. Yeah, Dubravka didn't play the last game, and I don't think he's going to play... I think I saw somewhere that someone said, is Dubravka injured? I don't think he is. I think he's just not playing because he's leaving in the summer, maybe. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I saw something like that earlier. So I think Dubravka I would replace... The rest of them are fine. They're not worth taking a hit for anyway. Play 3 of Casemiro, Wilson, Calvert-Lewin, and Thiago. I would bench Casemiro. Best free hit team for game week 37. Probably includes 3 Arsenal. And then work from there. Fernandes would be in there too. I'd probably have triple Everton, triple Arsenal, Bruno Fernandes. That's already 7 players. Bruno G. That's 8, and then just fill in the blanks from there. I'm on bench boost this week. Who would you go, Verbruggen or Kelleher on bench boost? Kelleher between the two. I wouldn't make a transfer to bench Verbruggen or not have him, but if I was choosing Kelleher, yeah, I think selling Sarr is pretty good this week. Although he does start, I would say. Who takes penalties in Arsenal when both Saka and Gyökeres are on the pitch? I think Gyökeres, although if I captain him and Saka takes it, that would be devastating. 3 free transfers. Planning to do Canvo / Rogers to Keane and Jai, but this is to bench Wilson. Do both for it. Yeah, I would just do the defensive transfer, I think, and just play Wilson. I mean, look, I can only say what I've said all week. You could roll a transfer to next week and have nothing to do. I would not be surprised if we're sat here on the deadline stream, not this time next week because it's a Sunday deadline, in 9 days. I would not be surprised if people are really struggling with moves where they're just making transfers because they've got spare transfers. I would not be surprised if we're in that position. But also, it's always okay to roll. So I'd probably roll that second move for you. Leading Minley by 30 points. Number 2 will get Saliba, as have I. You've won, by the way. Do I use it or do I roll or use it for Cavalier and Thiago? I would just roll. Can you go over the pros and cons of Saka versus Gyökeres captaincy? Gyökeres penalties. I mean, what else is there? Penalties for Gyökeres. Saka's a midfielder. That's about it. I don't even know who gets more minutes this week. Probably Gyökeres. But I don't even think that's a guarantee. What else is there to split them? I mean, Saka's underlying numbers are better overall for expected goal involvement. Gyökeres' goal threat is higher. There ain't much to split them, really. Do you reckon we get team news next week? There'll probably be something, but who for? No idea. Why not bring in Watkins? Guaranteed at least 2 goals tonight. No. Sell Semenyo to fund Gyökeres. Go for Cherky or Njai. I would go for Njai. I wouldn't buy City players this week. Jordy Havertz will play some minutes. Probably, yeah. Will it be up front? Will it be in midfield? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on Monday. 17 points ahead in my mid-league. Second, again, you've probably won. Second has triple Arsenal defence and owns João Pedro. Would that make you buy Saliba instead of João Pedro to Gyökeres? Why not go for the kill? 17 points by Gyökeres and then be even further ahead next week. -4, João Pedro to Gyökeres, Cunha to Njai, Munoz to Saliba. I wouldn't make all those moves. Ideally, you do João Pedro to Gyökeres, Munoz to Saliba, and keep Cunha, but I suspect you need the money, so I would probably just not do the Gyökeres move. Pick 2, Cherky, O'Reilly, Calvert-Lewin, Gross. Calvert-Lewin and Gross probably, although that feels horrible to bench O'Reilly. Start 1, Watkins, Mukiele, Dango. 2, 3. Watkins and Dango's close, actually. Oh, I'm going to say Dango, but like I'll be honest with you, right? Dango because it's Palace at home rather than playing Liverpool. But if I had to make that decision, that was my team. I suspect I would probably play Watkins, but I want to feel like I had the balls to play Dango. 2 free transfers: Cherky to Bruno G, then City mid in 38 or roll. Probably just roll. Yeah, probably just roll. Your wonderful advice is always. You must have the wrong stream, I think. 3.5 in the bank. I've got João Pedro, Haaland, and Thiago. Replace 1 with Gyökeres. It'd have to be João Pedro. Timber on the bench. Replace with Tarkowski or Keane. Tarkowski if you can afford it. 17 is nothing in 2 weeks. I don't know. I think it's harder to catch up 17 points in 2 weeks than you think. I still think you go Gyökeres over Saliba. Come on, live a little. On a free hit, Calvert-Lewin or João Pedro, Calvert-Lewin. Doodaloo, there's your whole team. Any moves I should make? Well, again, what moves are you thinking about making? I'm not going to go through your whole team and work out your transfer plan. Your team mostly looks okay, but obviously keep in mind you got Bournemouth defenders against City. There's probably something to do there. And by the way, I definitely prefer Gross, I think, over Krupi, although it's quite close. What other moves are you thinking about making? Let me know. 3 free chances. Need help with one of these. João Pedro to Gyökeres, Rodgers to Njai, Van Dijk to Saliba. 2, do the first 2 above and bench 1 of Van Dijk. I think you can afford to make 2 free transfers. Yeah, I would do the first 2 moves. I like that. I've got Heaven on bench boost. Replace who with 4.8 or accept. No, I'd sell him on bench boost. Probably Keane. Play Thiago or Dewsbury Hall. Gross. Thiago. Chasing top 100k in Cup semi-final. Start João Pedro or O'Reilly. João Pedro. Bruno G. Yeah, João Pedro. Just because he's more differential than O'Reilly. Bruno G or Everton midfielder for differential. I'd go in Jai. Play Gay or Van Dijk. Gay. Van Dijk. Just because there's no FA Cup final. Who's my favourite differential this week? I think it's Brentford players, basically. So Sharda, Dango, Lewis Potter, Collins. Now, I think Njai is going to be quite low owned, but I've mentioned him a lot this week. In fact, how many transfers in has he had? How many transfers in has he had this week? 38,000. Less than Casemiro. Do. So menu out to get in Gyökeres or just get Saliba. I mean, if Saliba's 1 move rather than 2, you should probably just do that. But I think selling Semenyo to get Gyökeres is fine. 33 points ahead of my min league. Mosquera or Saka -4. Saka. Oh, sorry. Is Mosquera for free? I mean, you're 33 points ahead. Get Saka if that's all. If all you care about is your min league, you've won it anyway. Get Saka. Start Beto, Chow, Calvert-Lewin or Munoz. Calvert-Lewin. Top of my work min league with 1 free transfer. Would you bring in Saliba for triple Arsenal defence or Rodgers out for Trossard or just roll and go into next week with 2 free transfers? I'd be tempted to get the 3rd Arsenal. I don't know who the defender is, so I say Rodgers to Trossard. Do you prefer Thiago over Calvert-Lewin this week? Yes. But I wouldn't sell Calvert-Lewin to get Thiago, probably. I mean, if you've got lots of transfers, sure. Who to play, Van Heck or Biol? Isn't Biol... Oh, no, it's Bogle that's out. Van Heck, I think. Gyökeres scores. Saka gets the assist and clean sheet. They score the same. Yeah. Punt on Casemiro over going for Saka. I would have no interest in that, really. I think Casemiro is probably a little bit overrated for FPL, even though he scored loads of points, and he's probably going to score again this week. Senesi to Keane. Yeah. Don't mind that. Anything on O'Reilly. Just the City have got a fully fit squad apart from Rodri, so he should be fine. Do you prefer João Pedro or Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres? Probably João Pedro again, just because of the no FA Cup final. I mean, if there was no final, it'd be a bit of a different conversation because I think Spurs at home is pretty good. Bruno G is such an underrated pick. I mean, everyone's talking about him. I feel like he's quite heavily rated, to be honest. I think he's a good pick. I agree. 2 free transfers, protecting a 20-point lead. Again, congratulations, you've won your min league. They've got Gyökeres and João Pedro. I have bad team value, so Calvert-Lewin over Gyökeres. Who should I protect against, João Pedro or Gyökeres? Gyökeres. Can do João Pedro and Gross to Gyökeres and Dewsbury Hill. I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. What would be my wildcard? Again, I've not thought about wildcard at all, but it would have triple Arsenal. I would probably keep triple Man City. I'd at least keep O'Reilly and Haaland, I think. Bruno Fernandes would be in there. Bowen. And then just start working from there, I think. Have 1 free transfer. Roll with Bowen, Szoboszlai and Cherky. Sounds fine, yeah? Sell Calvert-Lewin or Thiago to Gyökeres. Calvert-Lewin out of those two, especially if you can do Thiago to someone else next week. Senesi to Saliba. To be honest, if you're having to play Senesi, the Saliba move's probably the best one. 1 free transfer. Should I sell Watkins or Welbeck for Gyökeres? I would sell Watkins, I think, out of the two. If Arsenal go 2-0, they might play it safe as they only need to win. Go Gabriel's differential, or am I overthinking Captaincy? You're probably overthinking it. Gabriel's fine. What if they go 2-0 up and then they score a 3rd goal, though? Like, I don't know. Personally, I said this a couple of weeks ago, I don't think Arteta's going to change his setup massively, like where he's going to go for goal difference. But I think they might score lots of goals because they're one of the best teams in the league and Burnley are rubbish. So could it just be 2-0 up and then they just hold the lead? Maybe. Like, Gabriel's fine. Like, it depends what you want, right? I think a lot of people are looking for upside. Surely that's an attacker against Burnley. Dewsbury Hall or Garner. Probably Dewsbury Hall for me. 2 free transfers. Saka to Semenyo. Sarr to Stack. And -4 Strout to Gay. I wouldn't buy Gay and I wouldn't take a -4 either if you've got another defender you can play. I'm guessing that's Sarr to Stack. Yeah. Is that for money? Probably. I wouldn't take the -4. Assume you're going to bench boost this week with your exact team and 3 free transfers. What transfer would you make? Again, what? So basically, you've got my team and bench boost. What transfers are you thinking about making? Come on, you got to give me some input here. You're basically asking me to tell you what to do for your bench boost team. I mean, I would probably sell the injured player in Strauch, that's for sure, and ideally probably move like Hill on for someone else. But it depends how much money in the bank you've got as well. I don't have any money really. Once I do João Pedro and Gyökeres, so there's probably not cheap defenders I want. You might have more cash. You could maybe sell one of the more expensive players to get some money. Like, what are you thinking about doing? Help me out a little bit here. Because also you got to think about next week as well. So I've not thought about my team with more transfers, with the bench boost, and what that means for next week. Going Lewis Skelly for my 3rd Arsenal. Nice, good luck. Am I buying Gyökeres before the deadline? Possibly. Probably, I think. I might even captain him, honestly. I'm very tempted to captain him. Gross or Bruno G or Roll? If you've got Gross, I would hold him. I think. I mean, it depends if you got 1 free transfer or more. Chasing 14 points in my mid league. He didn't have Saka last week, but I don't know about this week. That's what I'm wondering about captaincy. Or presumably he's going to buy an Arsenal attacker, right? I would guess. Play Van Heck or Gross. Gross. -4 for Gyökeres and Dewsbury Hall for Calvert-Lewin and Semenyo. I probably wouldn't -4 that unless you really want to captain Gyökeres. Same team, but Welbeck for João Pedro and Cherky for Semenyo. 5 points behind, 3 free transfers. Do I go for Gyökeres, João Pedro and Thiago? I'm so unsure who to swap out. Do I go for Gyökeres, João Pedro and Thiago? But Welbeck for João Pedro and Cherky for Semenyo. I mean, 5 points is nothing really. João Pedro to Gyökeres probably. I'm not sure where Thiago comes into it. You mean? Yeah, I'm not sure where Thiago comes into it. Gyökeres for João Pedro sounds pretty good. Is triple Arsenal really a priority? I mean, they play Burnley at home, right? The thing is, so you could say no, right? It's not absolutely like it's not necessary you have 3 Arsenal. Who's more worth using your transfer on? Like everyone keeps saying, and I kind of do agree to some extent that having extra transfers in 38 could be beneficial. But what are those transfers for other than potential rotation? What if that rotation doesn't come? Which players in 38 are better than buying Arsenal ones this week? There ain't many, right? So it's not an absolute necessity you have 3 Arsenal, but 3 Arsenal also seems quite good. Like if someone said I'm just going to go with double Arsenal and use transfers elsewhere, I really wouldn't strongly argue against it. But there's not really any other necessities to buy either, I don't think, for the last 2 weeks. Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall and Strout to Saliba. Mini-league lead by 124 points. Yeah, you're in danger of losing that, I think, but those moves are good. Luxury moves just mean past chances were missed. Not necessarily, but I kind of get your point. Haaland or Bruno Fernandes captain. Bruno for me, 17k, 30-point lead. Is Captain Thiago over Saka crazy? It's not crazy. No. Get Trossard or Lewis Skelly, Saliba, Calafiori, Bruno G. Selling Tav or Strauch. I think you can just start Gross if you want. Out of those, I would probably buy Trossard. I think. How would you rate West Ham goalkeeper Hermansen in the last 2 game weeks? I probably wouldn't be interested in buying him. Like, he's fine if you got him, but I wouldn't go out of my way to use a transfer on the goalkeeper like that. Yeah, I don't know what my wildcard team would be with bench boost in 38. That's the honest answer. I've not thought about it at all. And on a deadline stream, I can't go through and think about it in too much detail either. It would probably have 2 to 3 City. It would have 3 Arsenal. It would have Bruno Fernandes. It would probably have Bowen. But I mean, trying to work out now what the rotation's going to be like in game week 38 is just a headache. I'd probably have a couple of Spurs players in there. Maybe like Porro, something like that. Or Danso if you need to save money for Everton at home in game week 38. I also think Brighton players are quite good still too. Am I sticking with Saka captain? I am, I think, as long as I don't buy Gyökeres. But I might buy Gyökeres, in which case I might captain him instead. I think that's my current thinking. I wish I had a little, like, do you know what? I've been saying for a few weeks now, like, money doesn't matter, but I kind of wish I had a bit more money. It would be, like, I'm slightly tempted to bench Semenyo, you know. I'm not convinced he starts, but I don't have enough money to do João Pedro to Gyökeres and Tavernier to anyone interesting, apart from Dewsbury Hall. Could get Dewsbury Hall and bench Semenyo. There has to be a risk that Semenyo doesn't start. Game week 37. There has to be some risk. But then just, he always starts and he's a bit of a machine. Start 1, Calvert-Lewin, Dewsbury Hill. Probably Calvert-Lewin. Why don't you sell so many of them? Because I quite like him for game week 38. If he doesn't play against Bournemouth and the title's still on, he's quite good for 38, isn't he? See, I could do like Semenyo to Njai and João Pedro to Gyökeres and keep Tavernier for game week 38. That's another option. But if Semenyo starts against Villa at home, I do fancy City for quite a few goals in that game. Because you've got to remember as well, Villa will have played the Europa League final. And if they've won, party time, you know? Do I get in Bowen for -4 or play Rodgers? Just play Rodgers, I think. 1, João Pedro Strout to Gyökeres Keane. 2, Strout Tavernier to Mosquera, Bruno G. Or 3, Saliba and Njai. 8 points in front. I'd go Gyökeres and Keane. -4 in Burma to Saka. I probably wouldn't do that. Bowen, Haaland to Welbeck. I wouldn't do that either. I mean, just doing Burma to Saka. Oh, you need the money, I guess. No, probably not. Exact same team as you. I have enough money in the bank. Is the best strategy João Pedro to Gyökeres and Strout to Keane? I quite like that, yeah. If I could afford that, I'd probably do it. Again, like, it's not an absolute necessity that you buy Keane to bench Van Heck. Playing Van Heck's fine, but I'd rather have Keane. So if you've got the spare transfer, why not? Gibbs White to Trossard, Wilson or Bruno G. Trossard for the punt, otherwise Bruno. Free transfers change Raya to Gyökeres. Probably not. Choose one. Trossard in, Enzo out. Dewsbury Hall in, Tavernier out. The Enzo move. So I think Cherky starts, probably, yeah. 3 free transfers. João Pedro to Gyökeres. Gross to Dewsbury Hall. Van Heck to Keane. I don't think I'd use my final transfer on Van Heck to Keane. Just do the other two. Senesi to Mosquera. Ampadu to Dewsbury Hall. Or to one free transfer. Probably Ampadu to Dewsbury Hall. Is Palmer captain over Saka, Bruno and Haaland mad? I think with an FA Cup final to play beforehand, yes, probably. Would you start Casemiro over Chow? Probably. Isn't it contradictory to start both Calvert-Lewin and Brighton? I kind of went through this earlier. Like, what's my other choice? Just checking Tav to Dewsbury Hall is fine. It's fine, yeah. Nothing more than that. Like most moves this week, I would say. Start 2, Welbeck, Bowen, Cherky. I'd bench Cherky. Start 2 out of 4, O'Reilly, Strauch, and Senesi, Hill. Oof. Probably, well, not Strauch, obviously. O'Reilly and Senesi, probably. Bench 2, play 1. Calvert-Lewin, Tavernier, Senesi. You play Calvert-Lewin. I'm a little bit tempted to do Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall, but then Tavernier might be better next week. Thiago captain chasing. How much are you chasing by? I mean, because I don't hate that. Canvo to Keane or Cunha to Trossard. I quite like Cunha this week, so I'm going to say Canvo to Keane. 2 free transfers, Lacroix to Saliba and Tav to Njai versus Lacroix to Keane and João Pedro to Gyökeres. Oof. That's tough. I mean, the more interesting one is to probably get Gyökeres, to be honest with you. Saliba and Njai just feels nice and solid, though, doesn't it? Guaranteed starter in almost a guaranteed clean sheet. Penalty taker as well. If this was like game week 23, I'd be saying Saliba and Njai almost certainly, I think. But I'm going to say the Gyökeres move for now. But it's so close. So close. I'm considering making a move to bench Semenyo. It'd have to be. Do you know what? I quite want Anthony for game week 38, but I don't want to buy him this week because obviously he's playing Arsenal. Just makes no sense whatsoever. Excuse me. So it would have to be Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall, but that feels like such a waste of a track. Oh, my throat's gone. That is not ideal with nearly an hour to go. You were worried about Gyökeres' minutes because of Havertz. Why so bullish? Well, I have said all week I think he's going to start, to be fair. Excuse me. Am I rolling this week? I might roll 1 transfer. I could just get Dewsbury Hall and bench Semenyo. And then next week, play Semenyo and bench Dewsbury Hall. And then maybe get Anthony. Yeah, his minutes might be reduced from by Havertz. Yeah, could be. But then Saka's minutes guaranteed? Like, does Saka have better minutes than Gyökeres? My God, I can't talk anymore. This is not ideal for a job where you've got to talk. Do you not think Semenyo and Cherky will... I think Semenyo probably will start, but I'd be less sure about it. So it's Bruno captain then. Yeah, you can go Bruno if you want. Yeah. Bruno's pretty good this week. Where'd I get up to? I think I'm going to buy Gyökeres and take Keane, Lewis, Potter on a 1-week punt. Nice. Like that. This is just not going to go away anytime soon. Can you please do a captain poll with Harden as one of the options? I'm not going to put Harden in the options because I don't think many people are going to captain him, to be honest. But I will do a captain poll. Fernandez, Gyökeres, Saka. I think they're the main 3. I mean, someone else will be an option, so people can put Haaland there. Semenyo to Dewsbury Hall and Pedro to Gyökeres is worth it. I don't love it because I think Semenyo could be good 38, but it's fine. Welbeck to Gyökeres or skip Gyökeres and go for Saka. Probably depends who you're selling in midfield. I can't. This is not ideal. And someone's going to tell me to drink more, and I've done nothing but drink today. It depends which midfielder you're selling instead. I'd probably lean towards Saka, yes, but it depends. Chasing 30 points, Captain Dewsbury Hall, Gabriel, Saka, Gyökeres, Haaland. It's done. You're not going to catch 30 points, so I guess you have to go a bit different. So probably not an Arsenal attacker. I mean, arguably Haaland. But most people own Haaland, don't they? I'm going to say Haaland. It's done, though. You're not getting 30 points, I don't think. Have Haaland, Semenyo, Gay, Gabriel, and Saka. 2 free transfers, 8 points behind. Should I do 1 Semenyo to Cherky? No. 2 keep Semenyo and do Van Heck to Saliba / Henderson to Dubravka. Oh, no, I wouldn't get Dubravka either. I mean, I just wouldn't use 2 free transfers to sell Semenyo to Cherky, I don't think. I mean, do Semenyo to someone else, like Njai possibly, or Bruno G. That'd probably be better. And if you're chasing, have they got Cherky? Because if they've got Cherky, I probably wouldn't bother getting him. Sell Semenyo to Dewsbury so I can bring in Saliba and Thiago, or just bring in a cheap Arsenal defender, have 3 free transfers. I think Semenyo to Dewsbury is okay. Get Saliba for safety. Bring one in, Bruno, Gabriel, or Saka. Saka, I think, for captaincy, probably out of those. Who are your top 3 worst captains this week? Top 3 worst ones? I don't know. Hill, Tavernier, and Strouk. On a free hit, Kelleher or Leno? Kelleher? 3 free transfers, Strouk, Gross, and João Pedro to Calafiori. I wouldn't buy Calafiori, although I do think he's going to start. Njai and Thiago, bench Calvert-Lewin and play double Brighton defence, or Strouk, João Pedro, De Keane, Gyökeres, and 2 free transfers in 38. Probably the second one. I've got Saka, Cherky, but need to sell Palmer to get Gabriel. Have no Arsenal defenders. Who in for Palmer or Haaland to Gyökeres instead? I wouldn't do Haaland to Gyökeres. Again, Njai, Bruno G, someone like that, I would say, for Palmer, if you have to sell him. Verbruggen to Raya, already have Saka and Gabriel and Van Heck. Yeah, if that's how you want. Like, I don't particularly love goalkeeper transfers right now, but if that's the way you want to get your third Arsenal, don't hate it. 3 free transfers chasing 8 points. They've got Gyökeres already. Do I bring in Gyökeres or back against? I guess you probably back against. It depends how many other players you have different, by the way. If Gyökeres is their best way of getting forward and you've already got a lot of differentials, you could get him, but it depends how many. If your whole team's the same apart from Gyökeres, you've probably got to go without. On a free hit, Kelleher or Leno? Kelleher, I think I already answered that one. Justin to Saliba and Rodgers to Njai for -4. I wouldn't take a -4. This is annoying. I better unmute myself. Someone says I missed their super chat. I don't know if I did. Maybe I did. Where the hell is it? I can't even find it. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't see one. Someone called Charlie. I just don't see it at all. I feel like I've answered most of these. Must have been a while ago. It's not any of the newest ones. Yeah, I don't. I'll be honest, I'm sorry. I just don't see it. I've got them all listed here. I think it was Charlie something. I just don't see it at all. I'm scrolling back up to some of the ones that were like right at the start of the stream. I just don't see one. Unless I got the name wrong. Rodgers or Cherky to Njai? Rodgers. 3 free transfers. Keep Gordon. No, I would sell him. Gordon to Njai, Jappa to Gyökeres, Heck to Keane, Plan 2, Tavernier to Njai, Gordon to Rice, Strout to Moscow. No, I like the first one, I think. If you got one transfer in your team, who would you bring in? Not sure, to be honest. Who are you thinking about getting? Raya to Gyökeres. I mean, if you've got lots of transfers, sure, but probably not, generally. Your team, Bar Hill, acquire 2 ideas. João Pedro de Gyökeres and also Tamanir to Dewsbury and bench Gross. Save that second move for 38 or make it. Yeah, it's a close call. I think I lean towards not making it, but I may well make it and then bench Semenyo. Pick 2, Cherky, Wilson and Mainu. Cherky and Wilson. Are we assuming Lewis Skelly is nailed? No. I think he'll start, but I'm not assuming he's nailed. Start Welbeck or Casemiro. Welbeck. Van Dijk to Saliba / Tarkowski or bench 1. Van Dijk, Senesi, Mukiele. Used 2 out of 3. Doing João Pedro Gyökeres. Enjoy. Thoughts on all this? The moves you've done sound good. I would get Saliba over Tarkowski. Give your voice a rest for 5 minutes. I'm home alone at the moment, so I can't do that. Looking forward to Anthony next week. Nice, good luck. João Pedro de Gyökeres with Semenyo to Cherky or Doku needed. I don't like selling Semenyo to another City player. If you have to do it, Doku, but I don't love it. Would you play Darlow, Semenyo, and Calvert-Lewin? Or Verbruggen, Van Heck, Gross? Probably Darlow, Semenyo, and Calvert-Lewin. How many points did Philippe Luis get you? No idea, to be honest. I've got Van Dijk starting and Rodgers on the bench. Which one would you replace for an Everton player, defence or attack? Probably attack, because I think Van Dijk's okay next week. Like if you've got Van Dijk next week, you're probably, you're happy enough with that, I guess. In Burma to Trossard as can't afford the Saka move. I think that's fine, but I quite like Burma this week, so I'm not sure I would make that move. If you really want to get the third Arsenal, then it's fine, but I quite like Burma. I think he'll start. There's obviously some risk there because he was benched last week, but I think he'll start. I've got Van Dijk starting and Rodgers on the bench. Which one would you replace? Oh, I did that one. My bad. Bench order, Rodgers, Lacroix, and Justin. Probably that order. Yeah, probably that order. If you have Gyökeres, you captain him, right? I think so. Oh, did I not? Oh, yeah, I did put the poll in. Wow, Saka's 38%, Gyökeres 25%, Fernandes 23%. Let's do transfer. You can, yeah, absolutely make your transfer now. Play Lacroix or Tavernier. Probably Tavernier. If you've got Gordon, he's a definite set. Like, I know earlier on I said I probably wouldn't take -4s for most players this week, but I would take a -4 to get rid of Gordon. Should I finance getting Saliba by going Semenyo to Cherky or replace my bench goalkeeper? I do Semenyo to Cherky, I think. But again, I would probably buy a non-City player instead. You have 4 free transfers with your team. What are you changing? I'm probably going back in time and making the same transfers I did, so I've got fewer than 4, I would say. 2 free transfers. Is Rodgers to enjoy worth it to bench Gross or just roll? Probably not. Gabriel or Bruno captain? Bruno, I think. 1 free transfer. I do quite like Fernandes captain this week. I hate this week already. I know I hate every week. I hate every move I make. I get it. Boring. But yeah, this is tough. It's tough, I think. 1 free transfer, Calafiori or Saliba or Roll. If rolling, have to play Munoz. I'd probably get Saliba. You're underestimating and downplaying Gabriel and Rice because you categorise them as boring captain picks, but both are going to outscore Saka. Nice, yeah, you could be right. You didn't read the end. Your team, Barhill, versus Calvert-Lewin, Gyökeres, and Palmer to enjoy. Play Brighton players. Oh, God. Your team, Barhill, acquired 2 ideas. João Pedro de Gyökeres and also Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall and bench Gross. Save that second move for 38 or make it. Versus, there's too much here. Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres and Palmer to enjoy. I'd keep Palmer, I think. Oh, no, yeah, I'd probably keep Palmer. And by the way, I'd probably just play Gross and not do Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall. I think I said that anyway. I think, if I've got that right. I think moves when they got so much involved, it's always hard to visualize for me because I'm an idiot. Sell Senesi to Keane to do João Pedro de Gyökeres. Sure, yeah. Bruno or Thiago captain Bruno. I'm so tempted by the Keane and Gyökeres, but Saliba 64%. Yeah, I know. The Arsenal clean sheet is disgusting this week. But then so is their goals. I think Arsenal's projected goals this week are higher than anyone else this season. Munoz to Gabriel and Semenyo or Cunha to Trossard. I'm going to say Semenyo to Trossard rather than Cunha. I liked Bruno Fernandes captain, then remember the Sunderland game. I know, but we shouldn't make decisions based on one game, you know? Are Man United now terrible? I'm not sure that's the case. Van Heck or Gross bench? Van Heck. Punt Bruno G captain. Not captain, I don't think. Semenyo to Trossard, I'm sure if I sell Tavernier. Semenyo to Trossard's okay. Yeah. Crazy to captain Gabriel? Nope. One free transfer is one of Beto, Bruno G, Njai, Dewsbury Hall worth bringing in for one of Welbeck, Casemiro, Gross, or roll. I'd probably roll. I'd probably roll, I think. Do I think Eze starts? Probably, but I have zero confidence in that prediction. Who's your POVS? I don't know what that means at all. I don't know if you're like, is this a meme or something? Am I like just too old to get what that means? I don't know what that means at all. Same team. Am I missing something? Someone in the chat will tell me what that means. Same team as you, but Bowen instead of João Pedro. Thinking of doing Tavernier and Gross out for Bruno G and Engamoa. I don't like Engamoa. Just don't think his minutes are good enough. The thing of João Pedro to Gyökeres is the upgrade doesn't feel as strong. I agree. FA Cup final. Could that maybe talk you into it? Worth a hit to swap Eze to Saka. Maybe for captaincy. Transferring Gyökeres or stick with Haaland, Welbeck and Calvert-Lewin. Either works. That's the reality. If you want to captain Gyökeres, get him in. Player of the season. Fernandes. Same team as you, but Lacroix instead of Hill. João Pedro to Gyökeres, Tavernier to Trossard, or Lacroix to Saliba. One free transfer. Lacroix to Saliba out of those, I think. Why did I not figure out what? Where is that super chat now? Was it PO of the? Who's your PO? The S. Yeah, okay. Player of the season. That's pretty obvious, I guess. FA Cup final is the only reason I'm considering it. Yeah, same. Sarr or João Pedro, I think. Although Sarr probably starts, and Mateta's probably not going to be on the pitch for 60 minutes. Sarr, why don't you read my comments? I just don't want to, really. Chances Dorgu starts. There is a chance, but not enough to buy him, in my opinion. Look, I'm not answering that question. Bench one of, and then your first two players are Saka and Fernandes. Come on, I'm not answering that. I'm refusing. Are the rumours true you're going on Love Island? Yes. I have Rodgers in trying to keep my mid-league rank. Do I go for Bruno G or Trossard to take out one of my forwards? Or take out one of my forwards. I think Rodgers to one of those midfielders is better than taking out your forwards, to be honest. Yeah. Free transfers. Lacroix to Keane, Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall, and João Pedro to Gyökeres. What do you think? I quite like it. Yeah. Would you rather have quadruple Arsenal defence, Gabriel captain, or double defence and Saka? Probably double defence and Saka. Welbeck, João Pedro to Gyökeres, or Strout to Saliba. Strout to Saliba in isolation is probably the better move. It's not as interesting, I suppose. Why not consider Calvert-Lewin to Beto? His stats look good. The minutes aren't fully safe, though, with Barry around, right? Calvert-Lewin's on penalties, too. Trossard or Saliba? Saliba's the safer bet. Bowen or Gross? One to start Bowen. Gross in the team already. Start Baleba or Bowen? Bowen. If you had 4 free transfers with the exact team as yours, what transfer would you make? I'm not sure, to be honest. Like, again, that's just another way of asking me to tell you what to do for your team. So let me know what transfers you're thinking about making with the 4 that you've got. And I can give you my opinion if you've got a couple of different options. I mean, I would almost certainly do João Pedro to Gyökeres, which I'm considering anyway. That's for sure. And then I'd probably use a couple of the others. Although I don't actually know, because I don't have 4 free transfers, so I've not thought about it. Like, I'd like to do Tavernier to Njai, but I can't afford it. But how would I afford that? Would I maybe sell Semenyo? Possibly. I don't know. I mean, you've got that team with 4 free transfers. You probably thought about it a bit more. Lacroix to Gabriel or Strout to Saliba? I'd get Gabriel. Thoughts on Tavernier, João Pedro, Van Heck to Njai, Welbeck, Saliba? Again, sounds fine. Trying to chase 7 points I want to back against Gyökeres. Nice. Van Dijk to Skelly or Cherky to Trossard? I do like Cherky still. Van Dijk to Lewis Skelly, I think. 3 frees, 20 off the top. Semenyo to Doku to afford João Pedro to Gyökeres and Strout to Keane. First has Cherky, Gyökeres, Saliba, and Gabriel. Yeah, then getting Doku makes sense, right? Even though it's a bit risky because of the FA Cup. Drop Van Heck or O'Reilly. Van Heck, I think. -4 for Bruno G and take out Cherky. I'm using bench boost. No, not for me. Not for me. Would you go triple Arsenal defense? I'm not going to do that, but you could. Yeah. Don't want to play Calvert-Lewin because of 3 Brighton. João Pedro to Gyökeres or Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres and Palmer down to Njai. Well, then you do the Calvert-Lewin move, right? If you don't want to play him, then you might as well sell him. If you haven't got a good way to bench him. Start Casemiro or Dewsbury Hall. It just feels wrong letting go of João Pedro versus Spurs. Yeah, I agree. But again, like we're mostly just selling players that are okay for other players that are okay this week and next, I think. Vasil, I don't think you put in a super chat, my man. I'll have a look to see if I missed one, but I don't think you have. Yeah, I can't see one. I did in Burma to Bruno G. Watkins to Gyökeres with a -4. The FOMO got to me. Nice, good luck. Thoughts on Njai and Baleba to Harrison 4. Yeah, sure. Start Tavernier over Calvert-Lewin or just wing it and hope Calvert-Lewin gets a return. I think Calvert-Lewin's just better than Tavernier. Should I play Dewsbury Hall over Wilson? Ooh. Probably. Who do you see with better minutes, Saka or Gyökeres? Honestly, I think it might be Gyökeres. But I don't know. The thing is, Havertz can come on and play in midfield. Havertz doesn't have to play up front. But he could play up front. Like I don't know. It's so close between the two. Like Madueke's right there, Havertz is right there. Saka's had the injury more recently. So does that mean he needs more minutes to build up fitness, or does he need more managing? It's a tough one. Like gun to my head, if I've got to pick, I think Gyökeres gets more minutes, but maybe I've just talked myself into wanting to captain him. I don't know. Subconsciously, I could just be talking nonsense. I mean, consciously, I could be talking nonsense. It wouldn't surprise me. There's something telling me Gyökeres is the better captain. I think it's the penalties. I think we all agree. Most of us agree that Gyökeres is on penalties, right? It's just getting to me. Leading my min league by 12. Nice. Have Gabriel, but second has him and Raya. Okay. I have a Bruggen starting. Should I take a hit for Raya? No. Don't think so. 12 points is okay. I don't know. I just think, like, and by the way, you've always got to assign some risk to certain players, right? There is risk with Gyökeres. Like, I think he does start. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. But you're right. He could come off on 60 minutes. But then so could Saka. Would Gyökeres leave a penalty to Saka just to get him scoring? I mean, I think if Saka really wanted to take a penalty, he could. I think he would be allowed to overrule Gyökeres. But would Gyökeres want to give it up? I don't think so. So it depends whose decision it is. I suspect it's Saka's. But if it's 3-0, you hope your player's already scored well, right? Start 3. O'Reilly, Calvert-Lewin, Cherky, Van Heck, Gross, Keane. Calvert-Lewin, Cherky, Gross, probably. 7 million, so no Gabriel unless -4. Saliba or Calafiori, Saliba. Njai or Cole Palmer in. Cole Palmer, why not? It's risky, but between the two, I'd rather have Palmer. I'm one of your channel OGs, and to be honest, your best FPL content provider. That's fake news, but thank you. Who do you predict is going to win the league? Arsenal. What's your prediction in the Bournemouth City game? I think City will win. But maybe, again, like I'm a little bit biased because it'll be handy for FPL if the title goes down to 38. Then it's 3 days. The problem is, it's so hard to make that prediction when you've not seen the final. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Bournemouth take points off City, but I think City win. I'll say 2-1. Say 2-1. Last minute Doku curler. Why not? With only 2 game weeks left, should I downgrade Strout to a 3.7 defend? Do you know what? I could do this. No. Just to afford Tavernier to Trossard. Have 2 free transfers. Happy with the rest of the team. I don't hate it. I guess that's about all I can say. If I'm honest, it doesn't feel great to use one of your 2 free transfers just to downgrade to a 3.7 defender, like midfielder. Sorry, defender. I think you can afford Njai, right? Without making the second move. I think I prefer doing that. Will City play a B team? Don't think so. Title's still on, right? I think Pep took a chance because he had a final and Bournemouth away is tougher than Palace at home. He took a chance. It worked out. I think it'll be mostly full strength against Bournemouth. Does that include Semenyo? Yes. In terms of he's in the first choice 11, but obviously there's risk there because he's played a lot of minutes recently. Tavernier, he's played a lot of minutes because he's great for minutes, but does that mean he's going to be less good for minutes in the next game? Maybe. Tavernier and Semenyo for Saka and Njai -4. Probably not for me, but if you really want to captain Saka, sure. Who is this and where's the real Andy? Captain a forward with minutes risk. But is he risky, though? My prediction is he's not that risky. Okay, he's not Bruno Fernandes, but I think he's going to start. And Saka's a risk too, right? If it was a case that Saka was going to play 90, guaranteed almost, then yeah, I wouldn't captain Gyökeres. I'd captain Saka. I mean, honestly, I don't think the argument that Fernandes is the best captain is that crazy. It just does. It feels wrong to not go against Burnley, right? Keep Bowen or transfer to Gyökeres. I think keeping Bowen's probably quite good considering Leeds at home next week. Wilson or Van Heck start? Wilson. Semenyo / Palmer to Saka or João Pedro to Gyökeres? João Pedro to Gyökeres. I think Semenyo might be better in 38. My wife is currently in the pub with my dad, and my dad wants me to order him a drink online. So you can never guess where they are. I did tell him they'll have to wait until after the stream. Got the same team as you. The only difference is that I got Cherk instead of Semenyo. 2.5 in the amount, 1 free transfer. What's the best sub or do I roll? I'd probably roll unless you've got better ideas. Sounds okay to roll to me. 1 free transfer. Who to bench? Darlow, Henderson. Come on. You can't ask me who to bench and include Bruno and Saka. I honestly shouldn't be allowed to ask questions like that. I would get a third Arsenal for Rodgers if you can. Who to bench? Henderson. Rodgers probably. And then 2 defenders. Probably Cash and Munoz. João Pedro to Gyökeres. Van Heck starts. Or Saliba or Strout to Saliba. Probably João Pedro to Gyökeres, I think. People aren't trying to get injured before the World Cup and it's Arsenal. They play conservatively, mark my words. Yeah, I mean, you could be right. They've also scored the second most amount of goals in the league this season. And they haven't played Burnley at home yet. Would you bench Hill or Lacroix? Hill. That is... Yeah, they're probably both losing clean sheet. Chasing 12 points, thinking Thiago captain. Nice, yeah. If you want to go different, he's someone I would look at. You could be more than 12 points behind after this week, though. That's the only downside. Who to play, Lacroix or Calvert-Lewin? Calvert-Lewin. See, this is the thing, right? I know you've got double Brighton defence, but Calvert-Lewin is just better than Lacroix, right? He just is. Casemiro on penalties tomorrow. I highly doubt it. Rodgers 2, no money for Saka, Njai Wilson. I would go Njai out of those. My good mate Tom Wall, 24th in the world, very nice right now. 16 points off top of the 1% league with similar 11 to top. How would you go differential to chase the gap? Well, I don't know what team the person at the top's got. So any player that's different to what they've got, I suppose. I mean, this is the problem, right? I can tell you that Gyökeres is a bit of a differential, but he's probably not going to be by the time we get to the deadline. If the person at the top buys him as well, it's difficult. So players like, there's no like heavy hit, like Trossard probably, I guess. If you're looking for Arsenal differential, it's Trossard. Outside of that, like Njai, Bruno Guimaraes, 16 points, it's difficult, to be honest. I almost feel like you've got to captain someone different. Oh, sorry, how wild would you go? I feel like you've got to captain someone different. The problem is, I don't quite know. Like, Bruno's probably going to be a bit of a differential, but is he differential enough? Like, if you look at the captaincy poll, I mean, Fernandes is close to Gyökeres. It's going to make me cry when Fernandes ends up being the top scorer and I haven't captained him. Yeah, maybe someone like Thiago captain, something like that, and or Trossard captain. Why not? Get the third Arsenal in. Job done. But obviously, I don't know what his team is or what the team at the top is either. Paul, love the channel. That's the text. Thank you very much. 6 months. And Burma to Trossard as can't afford Saka. I think I'd rather keep in Burma. But it's fine. Yes, if you want to get the Arsenal without, if you can't afford Saka and you want to get an Arsenal in, then Trossard's fine. Would you transfer Chow to Van Heck? No. Start one of Calvert-Lewin, Dewsbury Hall, Calvert-Lewin. Funds issue is Lewis Skelly an option? Yes, he's an option. Bench one of Gross, O'Reilly, or Calvert-Lewin. Probably O'Reilly begrudgingly. If Bruno's fouled in the box, he will only get an assist if someone else takes the penalty. You don't get assists for that, though, right? You do in FPL, but it wouldn't count towards the record. Lacroix to Mosquera or Lewis Skelly? Mosquera. Sell Semenya to Cherky for or Lacroix to... Oh, for Lacroix to Saliba. Again, I don't know if I'd buy Cherky. I think I'd go like Njai or Bruno G, but yes, I don't mind that move. Does the 12:30 kickoff curse count for Sunday? No. Got bench boost left, but on the bench is the Bravka, Anderson, Cherky, and Mukiele. 0 free transfer. Should I -8 or wait for 38? Well, it's not going to get better in 38 because the Bravka and Anderson still won't play. Oh, or -4. Good question. I think I'd just get it done now for a -8, to be honest. Is Gyökeres worth going into 38 with 1 free transfer? I think possibly. Look, the thing is, it's a guess. Like, I mean, you could say this is the same all season, but in some ways, 38 is even worse. It's a guessing game, right? I said this earlier on. People that are saving transfers for chaos and rotation in 38, absolutely viable strategy. They might also get to game week 38 and have not a lot to do. Where they're just, again, they're struggling to make... they're making them for the sake of it. They're not even happy with the moves they're making. Like, that is a possibility. So I'd probably just do it. The thing is, right, let's just say for a second, let's just say there's minimal rotation in game week 38, right? It's a possibility, okay? And let's just say there's minimal rotation for the players that we own. Then what's the better move for your transfer? To get an Arsenal player against Burnley or someone else in 38? It's probably the Arsenal player against Burnley, right? I don't know. It's fine to save a transfer, but I wouldn't be stressing about having more than one transfer next week. I don't think it's that important. It might be, but I don't think it will be. Keep Welbeck or transfer to Thiago. Keep Welbeck, I think. Same team as you with 3 transfers. João Pedro to Gyökeres or Van Heck for Bruggen to Saliba Raya. I'd probably just do João Pedro to Gyökeres and just roll. Even after what I've just said. To be honest with you. I mean, I don't know how much more money you've got left over if you make that move, but Bruggen and Van Heck are fine. Got Rice and Saka. Should I sell 1 for Gyökeres? No, probably not. Just Captain Saka. Got Gabriel, Saka, João Pedro to Gyökeres or Tavernier to Trossard. I'd go Gyökeres, I think. 2 free transfers, so could also go Cherky to Dewsbury. No, I wouldn't do that. Even for the Calvert-Lewin move. If you had to take a hit for one of those, which would it be? Bruno G, Trossard, Lewis Skelly. Trossard, probably. Lacroix to Gabriel. I hope Trossard's bench, by the way. I just don't think he will be. Lacroix to Gabriel and João Pedro to Gyökeres have to take a 4-point hit and swap Gross to Dewsbury Hall. Worth it. I don't hate it because you're getting the Arsenal players in. I don't hate that. 65k overall rank and chasing down top 50k. Won all my mini leagues, so nothing to lose. Already have Saka. Bring in Trossard or Gyökeres and who to captain. So I don't know the points difference between... Do you know what, right? The poll is telling me that Gyökeres is going to be somewhat of a differential captain this week. Somewhat. I don't know the gap between 65k and 50k. If it's like 10 points, I think I'd go Gyökeres. If it's more, I'd go Trossard. Gyökeres or Thiago to start. Gyökeres, play Cherky or Minaj. Cherky. Same team as yours, but have Palmer, Senesi, and Matoma. 5 free transfers. Did Strauk to Keane. What would you do? 0.3 in the bank, doing Palmer to Trossard and João Pedro to Gyökeres is crazy. No. I don't know if I'd use all those transfers. Matoma's got to go. So Matoma to like Njai or someone like that. Palmer to Trossard and João Pedro to Gyökeres is not crazy. I actually quite like that. What 3 Arsenal is the best? Gyökeres, Saka, Gabriel. Would you play Munoz if you had him in your team? Over Van Heck, possibly, yeah. Who would you bench, please? Cherky, Calvert-Lewin or Gross? Cherky. Is Trossard a reasonable captain? Yes. One free, if you wanted to go different. 1 free transfer for Bruggen to Raya or Calvert-Lewin to Thiago or Roll. Roll. I don't hate for Bruggen to Raya, but I don't think I'd do it. You aren't still 503 overall. Yeah, I am. I got the smallest red arrow possible last year. I went from 502 to 503. Bournemouth not lost for 16 games. They haven't played Man City yet though. Away, home even. Would you rather have Saka or Gyökeres? I mean, I guess if I'm going to captain Gyökeres, then Gyökeres. I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy Gyökeres and captain him. And the poll's making me want to do it more because Saka's 37%, Gyökeres 25%. Why Gyökeres or Trossard, not Eze? I just think Eze's got the worst minutes of the 3 of them. By the way, that could change very quickly. It wasn't that long ago that people were looking at Eze thinking he's pretty much nailed on to start on good minutes. Now it's like it's Trossard. That might change again. You never know. João Pedro / Tavernier to Gyökeres / oh god. Batice, I don't even know how you say that name. Dauman, 3rd Arsenal. I would not get Dauman. Bacetic. I can't say it. I feel like I've said this name before, but I can't say it now. I don't want to embarrass myself by continuing getting it wrong. 4.2. I mean, sure. Sure. If that's the best way to fund it. 15 months, Jared. Darlow, doodle-doodle. I'm considering rolling. Silly. Nope. Not. Why would that be silly? You got 3 Arsenal. Fernandes captain's fine. I mean, the team's pretty good. Not worried about Captain Saka minutes. A little bit, yeah. João Pedro shout. I mean, he's playing an FA Cup final 3 days before, so you've got to be worried about him too. Done Senesi, Tavernier, Haaland. Whoa, Haaland out for Gabriel Saka Gyökeres. You know what? It's not crazy. Good luck. The only thing I'll say about selling Haaland, which I said in final thoughts earlier, they do play Villa at home, game week 38. I think that could be good. Sell Tavernier to Mainu to afford Saliba from the Qua. Don't hate selling Tavernier to fund Saliba. I wouldn't buy Mainu though. I don't think that's that interesting. Mainu is 4.7. Like, I mean, if that's all you can afford, then maybe it's okay. 4.7. I mean, if I would go for Stack, 0.1 million more, if you can afford that. Yeah, I guess if that's all you can afford. Sell Calvert-Lewin or João Pedro for Gyökeres. João Pedro, I think. I think it's like, this is why I hate the end of the season, because you're just selling good players for other good players. I quite like João Pedro for the final 2 weeks. 1 free transfer, Cherky to Njai, Dewsbury Hall, Bruno G or Roll. Probably Roll. Same team as you, but only 1 free transfer. João Pedro to Gyökeres or Strout to Saliba. Would have preferred Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres, but not enough money. The safer moves, probably the more solid moves, probably Strout to Saliba, but I do João Pedro to Gyökeres. Rodgers for Rice for minutes, takeaway, all worries. Yeah, Rodgers to Rice is quite nice. Keane and Cash for 38 or Tarkovsky. Oh, Tarkovsky, if money's not an issue, like if you don't know what you're going to use that, I know cash in the bank's always handy, but if you haven't got a good idea of what that's going to be used for, just get Tarkovsky. Look, worst case scenario, you go for someone like Anthony in midfield if you need someone super cheap. You can even go for a Burnley defender in game week 38 if you really need someone cheap. I'm sure there's a cheap option, like Danso for Spurs against Everton at home. Like Danso in defence, Anthony in midfield, someone up front I haven't thought of yet. I don't know. Tati or Krupi or something like that. There's always someone cheap. Feels so weird going for double Arsenal attack. Oh, it does a bit, yeah. Especially when double defence has been so good all season. Triple captain Gabriel or Bruno. Bruno, is it better to bench with 37 or 38? That depends on your bench, really. But I would say 37 is more ideal. Because there's more likely to be rotation in Game Week 38. Although there's an FA Cup final in 37, so that could be tricky. Must-haves, I mean, there aren't really that many, to be honest. I mean, I quite like cheap Everton players against Sunderland if going this week. I'm top 2.8 million chasing first. Should I buy Sanderberg? Yeah, and I'd probably captain him. Palmer to Saka, João Pedro to Gyökeres, Tavernier to Njai, and Van Hector to Tarkowski. Calvert-Lewin up front and Verbruggen already in. Your thoughts? Sounds pretty good as long as that's for free. I mean, there's moves in there you don't like Tavernier to Njai, Van Hector to I mean, none of those moves are essential, but they're all quite good moves individually. Tank a midfield pick to free up funds for João Pedro to Gyökeres. As long as you're not going to need that pick next week or this week. Bench 2, Van Dijk or O'Reilly or Chow. I'd play Chow. Cherky or Munoz first bench. Cherky, 1 free transfer, Munoz to Lewis Skelly or Roll. I think I'd be tempted. The thing is, Munoz is going to be no good to you next week, I don't think. So I'd be tempted to do it. If that's your only way to get 3 Arsenal. Do I bench Gibbs White for Justin due to minutes risk? Gibbs White has been in training with a mask on. The only thing is they got nothing to play for, so I still don't know if he's going to start. But Justin, it's not that. I'd go Gibbs White. He has been training. He's got a mask now, and also a mask just makes you better, right? I'm pretty sure I'm doing João Pedro to Gyökeres now. I'm slightly tempted to do Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall to bench Semenyo. I'm probably going to roll to 2 free transfers. Oh, I wish I had the money for. If I'd made early transfers this week, which I don't think was sensible, but if I had, I could have afforded João Pedro to Gyökeres, Strout to Keane. I don't think there's someone at 4.4 million that's worth bringing in to bench Van Heck. And I know I've got Calvert-Lewin against defense, whatever. Using wildcard, who would you get if you had it? Oh, God. Triple Arsenal, triple Man City. I've said this already. Fernandes, Bowen would probably be in. Outside that, I've not thought about wildcard this week. I just assume most people don't have it. Didn't have it left. Yeah, Bowen, Fernandes. I mean, I'd have Everton players as well. Tarkowski, Keane, and Njai probably. Like one to 3 of them. Would you start Cherky or Gross? Gross for the minutes, probably. Mosquera, Lewis Skelly, or Calafiori? I really want to say Calafiori because I think he's going to start, but because he's a doubt, I don't think that's sensible. So I'm going to say Mosquera. Tavernier to Njai and bench Cherky, or just play Cherky and roll. Probably just roll. Just took my first 4-point hit. Nice, good luck. I think it's going to be a bit like last week. If you remember, I said once I put Saka in, this team won't look that bad. Make your subs, you rage. I mean, honestly, if you're raging because I've not made my transfers, I think that tells a lot about you, to be honest with you. You want to get a grip. I said last week, right, once I make my move, the team will look a bit better. Do you not think this team, does anyone else think this team just looks pretty good? I think it's pretty good on paper if they all start. Surely. Someone just said Wirtz's bench. Where have you seen that? Where have you seen that? It looks fine. Roll. It does look fine, doesn't it? It doesn't have 3 Arsenal. And I've got 2 transfers. Two moves next week is fine. I don't even know what moves I'm going to make next week, though. That's what I don't know. Does anyone else struggle when they don't know what move's coming next? I mean, I shouldn't worry about it at all, but I do like to know. I do like to have an idea of what I want to do the next week. I've got double City defence, Gabriel, Chow and Van Heck, Saka, Fernandes and Dewsbury Hall in midfield. Can't afford Saliba. Go third Arsenal or go Everton or Guimaraes, defence or midfielder. I'd go midfield. Trossard, probably. Oh, sorry. Okay, so it's Saliba or Everton or... Okay, I'll go Everton and Njai. Start Keane or Van Heck. Keane. Cherky to Trossard or Lacroix to Mosquera. Lacroix to Mosquera, I think. 4 free transfers. Would you do Lacroix to Keane and Tavernier to Trossard? Or Lacroix to Keane, Semenyo to Njai, João Pedro to Gyökeres? I go the Gyökeres way. Start Palmer or João Pedro. Palmer. 2 free transfers. Can't get to Gabriel in 1. Should I go Saliba and roll to 2? Yes, although I don't watch the Arsenal game because not having Gabriel could be painful. But I quite like rolling to 2 instead of getting Gabriel, I think. I mean, it does depend. Like, if your other move also brings in an upgrade, then I'd do the second move. Like, for example, if it was, I don't know, I'm just picking, like, if it was Semenyo to Dewsbury Hall, I'm not necessarily saying Dewsbury Hall's a massive upgrade, but if it was something like that to get Gabriel, I'd be tempted to make the move. But it depends what the second move is. Shout out to Mosquera or Keane or Lewis or Tarkovsky. 4 free transfers done. Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres. Hill to Tarkovsky. Saka or Gyökeres captain. Gyökeres. Eze a big minutes race. Yes. Sell to Saka with 2 free transfers. Probably, yeah. On bench boost, own Rodgers and Strout. Rodgers and Strout to Trossard captain and Keane -4, or Rodgers to Saka captain by -4 by selling Munoz instead of Strout. You've got to get rid of Strout, I think, instead. Bench Collins, Cherky, or Hinchelwood. Cherky because Collins. Bruno G or Bowen. Bowen. Saka, Gyökeres, and Trossard. Who do I triple captain? Gyökeres. Is Gabriel worth a -4? No. Or just trade Lacroix for Tarkovsky? I would just do that. Triple captain now or next week? This week, I think, on Arsenal. Although, I think Haaland triple captain is better next week if the league is still on. But because we don't know that, I would go Arsenal this week. João Pedro Lacroix to Gyökeres Keane. That sounds pretty good to me. Right, let's just... Okay, before I get stressed in a minute, let's just double check. I've got 1.7 in the bank. So if I get Gyökeres in... Gyökeres with less points than Calvert-Lewin, Watkins, Bowen, João Pedro, Thiago, and Haaland, by the way. He hasn't played Burnley at home yet, though. Eze or Trossard? Trossard. Arsenal triple defence or Gyökeres for João Pedro? Gyökeres, I think. And then I captain him, probably. Nkapie or Mosquera? Mosquera. Yeah. Don't put too many more super chats in now. I know there's 11 minutes to go, but I need to stress about my team. So, help me out here. I've only got 0.2 million. There's not another transfer worth making, right? Like, Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall to bench Semenyo. But if Semenyo starts, I quite like him. I just don't think that's worth a second transfer. I really don't. I can't afford Keane. I can't afford Keane because Strout dropped in price. Unless I sell Van Heck. But I don't think that's worth it. I do have... Oh, God. I'm so all over the place. Do you know what's really... I'm annoying myself. Because if I get Gyökeres in, right, and I don't make another move, then when I get to game week 38, my team looks fine and I've got 2 free transfers. But I'm also mindful that if I sell Van Heck and Strout's still injured... Like, is Keane great against Spurs away? And then if Strout's no good to me, maybe I need my bench if there's some rotation next week. But then I've got 2 free transfers, so any rotation I can deal with. What are you on about, you idiot? Yeah, 2 free transfers is a strong position, but... Do you know what? It might be simpler to have 1, honestly. Like, I'm looking at my team now for game week 38 with 2 free transfers. I have no idea what my moves are going to be. No idea. But if I have Dewsbury Hall instead of Tavernier, is that even that much better? I don't think so. If I had the money, would I do Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres instead of João Pedro? I don't think so, to be honest. And it's the FA Cup final. Again, I'm probably putting too much emphasis on that. But it's in the back of my mind. I've got triple captain left. Options. Arsenal attacker this week or Haaland next week, probably. And one of Gabriel or Gyökeres. Gabriel, I think, if you've got Saka. Saka and Lewis Skelly or Saliba and Trossard for a -4. Saka. Can't afford João Pedro to Gyökeres. Should I take a -4? It depends what the -4 is. If you've already got Saka, I would worry a little bit less about Gyökeres. Gross to Gakpo or roll for 2 frees. Probably roll, but I don't hate the punt on Gakpo. Sell 1 for Saliba, Van Dijk, Chow or O'Reilly. See, Van Dijk's the worst one this week. But he's probably the best, second best next week. Who have Newcastle got in game week? Fulham away, right? I'm pretty sure it's Fulham away in game week 38. Yeah. I'd sell Chow, I think. Yeah, probably Chow. Have Lacroix starting. Him to Saliba, Tavernier to Trossard, Tavernier to Njai or João Pedro Gyökeres. The last mean Lacroix start. I'd probably go Lacroix to Saliba, I think. Eze or Trossard. Trossard got 3 free transfers. Should I do Cherky to Njai or roll? Roll. Yeah, roll. Roll. Any Villa news? No. You can't start Gross. Surely not. Why not? Why not? Next week I'm doing Hinchelwood to Somerville. Nice, yeah. I mean, there are some punts next week. I just, I honestly, I'm actually like frustrating myself with like making content this week because I feel like I've got to have this like super. I mean, I'm never insightful to be fair, but I have to have this like super interesting thing to say about players. But I just can't think of anything other than it's fine. It's going to be even worse next week. It's going to be even worse because there's only 1 week to think about. So people are going to be like, who do I go for? Anthony or Somerville or Hinchelwood or Saboslai? I don't know. Pick any of them. They're all fine. Although, I don't know. Maybe because there's not. Maybe next week will actually be easier because there is only 1 more week. So at least I can come up with some kind of order, I suppose. I quite like Spurs players next week. Although the relegation might be done. Start Henderson or Darlow. Tavernier for Njai or Dewsbury Hall. Njai. Sarr to Dewsbury Hall instead of Njai to have 1.1 million in the bank. What do you need the money for though? Or Sarr to Casemiro to block runner-up 9-point difference? I don't think I would do that. I don't know. You can do it. You can do any of them. Keeping Sarr and having 2 free transfers is fine. But how much do you think you're going to need those 2 free transfers? I mean, Sarr probably starts and he might be on penalty, so he's okay this week. He's okay. I'd probably sell to Enjoy, probably. But it depends on what you want to do next week. Do you need that money? Dewsbury Hall's fine if you need the cash, but if you don't, just get Enjoy, in my opinion. Bruno or Trossard? Bruno. Differential, but free haircut on the line. Bruno for me. Worth in Berman to Saka for a hit to captain him. Yeah, because of captaincy, maybe. Got 3 free chances. Should I do Cherky to Enjoy or roll? Because you got 3, you could probably justify it. Why is Gyökeres higher up than Saka for captaincy? By the way, right, when he's higher up, I don't have it like this. It's more like this. You see, like my fingers, like it's like this. It's such a small difference. You probably can't even tell on the camera which finger is higher. That's the difference between Gyökeres and Saka. Like it's this fingertip. You can't even tell which finger is it. This one or that one? You don't know because it's that close. Penalties, basically. You know when you said you like Spurs players next week, does that put you off Keane? No. If I needed a defender this week. Now, if I had, like, this is the thing, right? If I had to play Keane next week, it's not the end of the world. But would I buy Keane next week? Probably not. Would I buy Njai next week? Probably not. So it depends how much you need the upgrade this week versus next week. Gyökeres and Keane for Lacroix, or just Gyökeres and start Van Heck and 2 free transfers. Oof. Oh, God, I don't know. I've got no idea. Okay, gut feeling, 2 free transfers next week. Gut feeling, 2 free transfers next week. I might just make my transfer and then just go quick fire on all these questions and just tell you that everything's fine. Everything is fine. Am I thinking João Pedro gets benched? Not really. I think he probably plays and he's probably quite good. Like, could João Pedro outscore Gyökeres? Probably. Probably. Saka and Keane or Trossard and Tarkowski? Saka and Keane. Very scientific comparison. I know, but that's the problem. Like, it's like when you have Gyökeres number 1, Saka number 2. I think some people look at that and think, how is Gyökeres so far ahead of Saka? He's not. Saka's also really good. Saka's also extremely good. If Gyökeres gets benched for Havertz, then the thing is, I really am trying to not let my rank change my decisions that much. But it is hard to not think about that at all. And I know that top 1k is not guaranteed. Top 5k, absolutely guaranteed. There's no way I do that. Oh God, I shouldn't have said that out loud. Imagine if I have 2 absolute disastrous weeks. Look, top 5k is done, right? So I'm going to have my best finish for a long time. But I really want top 1k. And I got to be honest, I've just started rambling. I don't even know how I started that conversation. I don't even know how I started that conversation. Why was I starting to talk about my rank? Oh yeah, Gyökeres if he gets benched. If Gyökeres gets benched for Havertz after I talked about him being a slight minutes risk and not taking any risk for most of the season, and I don't finish top 1k, I don't care where in the top 1k I finish. It's just got to be top 1k. How did I afford Gyökeres? I just had 1.7 million in the bank. I've not even transferred him in yet, by the way. Just saying. But I will. Start in order. Calvert-Lewin, Welbeck, and Jai Wilson. Calvert-Lewin and Jai, Welbeck, Wilson, I think. I just like I would take another small. I would absolutely take a red arrow to 504, 502 to 503, and then to 504. I would take that right now. Obviously, because then I'd be 504 going into the final week. Yeah. Superstar. Wilson or Rogers to Trossard? Rogers, I think. If you own Darlow this week, you surely start him over Verbruggen. I don't know, do you? Do you surely do that? Gyökeres or Saliba? Gyökeres, and for Welbeck or Bowen? Oh, Welbeck if you have to. Yeah. Is selling Semenyo for Cherky worth it if that's my only route to getting a third Arsenal player like Lewis Skelly or Mosquera? I'd probably roll rather than do that, to be honest. Top my Minley by 40, same team as you advise. Enjoy the win. Captain choice between Bruno, Ezio, Haaland, Bruno. Saka and Keane or Trossard and Tart? Saka and Keane. We're only got 2 minutes left, so no more super chats because I might not get to them. I feel bad then if I don't get to them. I try and get to all of them during the stream. Yeah. Captain choice: Bruno, Ezio, Haaland, Bruno. Rio starts according to who? Oh, no, that could be interesting. That could be interesting. Where have you seen that? I mean, if Rio starts, Tavernier to Rio, bench Semenyo. It's a away game, though, isn't it? It's an away game. I've made my transfers. I've made them. No minutes risk is your motto. Yeah. Ow, ow. I'm locked in. I'm playing Calvert-Lewin against double defense. Calvert-Lewin captain guarantees top 1k. It absolutely doesn't guarantee that. I haven't seen where is it? By the way, someone else has said Rio starts. I've not seen that anywhere. Who finishes last, Jake or Bailey? Jake. Okay. Update your team. Boom. Gonna do it now. 5, 4, 3. James Waffland. I haven't got time to check that. Okay. We're in. We're locked in. I don't care. I'm playing Calvert-Lewin against my double defense. You can't stop me. It's happening. I've made the move I've talked about all deadline. Basically. 2 free transfers for game week 38. Gyökeres is in. Captain. I said earlier I was going to do it. Said many times. João Pedro. Are you first in all your min-leagues? I actually think I'm hardly first in any of them, to be honest. Excuse me. Saka's going to win, isn't he? Oh, I was on Saka all week. I've only just seen Verts on the bench, no Isak. According to who? Triple Brighton is madness. Yeah, maybe. If I had money for Strout to Keane, I may have done it. Saka and Njai to Hall. I forgot that I don't have Njai. That hurts me a bit. Gyökeres bench. Gyökeres and Saka won't start. Of course they won't. Keep in mind, Arsenal have still got to win this league. Yeah, I did see some rumours about Isak out earlier, but yeah. Semenyo better start now. We'll all regret not captaining Bruno. Honestly, I don't know what will hurt me more, Gyökeres blanking or Bruno being the better captain. I don't know. We'll see. Right, we're locked in. I'm going to go and cook some dinner. I'm actually having chicken and rice tonight. How boring is that? Even my dinner's boring. Even my dinner's boring. Although I did get some nice like barbecue stuff to put on it. It's been marinating all day, so. Well done for trying to trick the people copying. I mean, I didn't really trick them. I spoke about doing João Pedro de Gyökeres all stream and captaining him as well. I just left the actual move to the last minute. He comes from. Oh, by the way, you just reminded me. Oh, I will order. I will order my dad a pint in a sec. Although he doesn't like drink that much these days, so he might have already had. He might have already had what he's going to have tonight. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, did anyone else hear? Did anyone else hear? Has anyone else seen the Heart song? I saw people tweeting about it earlier. Heart, I think it's Hearts, Glorious Hearts. What an absolute banger! I hope Hearts win tomorrow. Sorry, Celtic fans, but I think most people want Hearts to win. Am I still listening to Phoenix? No, I've just listened to Don't Give Me Your Life, and now King of My Castle is coming on. Can't believe I went for Gyökeres and not Saliba. Ah. The penalty was never a penalty. I also don't think it was a penalty either, but I don't know if I want to get into it now. Like, because people will say, like, people go, oh, all the slowed down replays, the stills, but that's not what the referees use to make the decision. And also, I just don't believe you can get that. Like, I don't think he gained any advantage at all. The only way that ball goes as far as it did is because he heads it, even if that's through his hand. So I personally don't think it's a penalty. But I also understand why people do. So whatever. It's done now. It is what it is. I'd like Hearts to win. Who should I go for on last man standing? Brentford or Fulham? I'd probably go Brentford, but don't blame that on me if it goes wrong. Like, not every ball that touches a hand in the box is a penalty. It's not an automatic penalty if it touches your hand. And he heads through it. Like, obviously he's headed it in some way because it goes miles. No one cares about the Scottish League. I mean, I think they do when Celtic might not win. Like, it's 40 years since someone that wasn't Celtic or Rangers won. So I think Trossard will start, yes. Dude, what was your job before FPL content? I managed the FIFA forums, basically. I did manage some other forums for EA as well, but mostly it was FIFA. I mean, FIFA's just so big compared to most other games EA have that most of the time was spent on that. Should I have started Dewsbury Hall or Gross? I would have definitely started Dewsbury Hall. Captain in Capia, did you really? Like saying Maradona headed through his hand. That's not the same. Come on, that's not the same at all. Maradona used his hand to score the goal. This one, his hand may or may not have hit it. With a very slowed down replay and stills, it probably does. But it's a headed, like, he heads it. That's why it goes that distance. It's not the same. Come on. It's not the same. Anyway, look. We can agree to disagree. It's done now, right? Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button. I don't know if I'm going to stream on Sunday, by the way. I'm just putting it out there now. I don't know. Right now I would say probably not. It's not going to happen this week, unfortunately. But yeah, there'll be content next week and stuff. Good luck. Oh, I've got a phone call. Oh, I better take that. I've got to go anyway. Thanks very much, and I will catch you later on.